If we get to a title that you haven't played and you want absolutely no spoilers, and you're going to be upset if we talk about characters that die or don't die, how it ends, etc. Maybe skip ahead in the VOD when we I'll put it up on YouTube at some point.
Okay, maybe I'm gonna put a
we'll
little.
do chapters or something.
I'm gonna do like a spoiler warning or some shit.
Yeah. Here, I'll put spoilers included.
All right, all right, all right. Exciting, guys. We got to talk about a series that we love. I'm loving watching Sarek play the Pixel remasters because I have not played the Pixels, and Heg just went through them as well.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Sarek just like did the opera scene in 6 recently, and it's just so cool to see like how they added like actual opera songs, like music and stuff to it. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's been a real journey, and coming back to see what they've removed from Pixel remasters or added compared to like previous releases has been really eye-opening.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that's a really good point. Before we get into this, for everybody that's watching, and for anybody who watches the VOD, etc., perhaps we should give a qualifying statement of who we are and why we're doing this. So maybe just like a little bit of background on your history with Final Fantasy, each of us, really quickly. Why don't you start, Sarek? Yeah, please.
So I've been for a long time. I had just played Final Fantasy 7 through 10, not really sort of diving out of that area. I didn't get into 11 or 12. I left the series for a long time. And then having recently sort of come back to things, I went through all the Pixel remasters, had a blast with those. I'm trying to understand why people love some of these titles that I've not played, after being sort of a lifelong fan of those, that small amount of time in this series.
Nice. Oh, I guess I go next. This is the anonymous circle. Hi, I'm Notorious Monster. I have been playing Final Fantasy since my first Final Fantasy game, which I consider Super Mario RPG on the Super Nintendo. I did not have PlayStations or any other Final Fantasy games until we had a family PC, and I was at Sam's Club one day and I saw this beautiful looking game like on the PC game booth, and it was called Final Fantasy VIII, and it had like these 3 beautiful people on it. And I was just like, who are these people? And I was just like, I looked over it, and he had like a gun for a sword and shit. And I couldn't afford it. It was full price. It was brand new. But what I could afford was the previous installment on PC called Final Fantasy VII. That thing had fucking 90 discs. I so many discs and install discs and stuff. Final Fantasy VII was my first game. I played until the snowboarding area, and I couldn't beat it because I was still a kid. And I quit there, but it was because it was my birthday, and my uncle bought me Final Fantasy VIII. I got Final Fantasy VIII. It's the only game. Actually, it's not true. I also 100% Kingdom Hearts. I've 100%ed Final Fantasy VIII. It is my favorite game of all time at the time, and it's still today. It's like I have a little bit of a bias for 8 because of how like formative it was on me. Like the cutscenes were amazing. The story made me cry, and I was only like fucking 10 years old. You know what I mean? Like. It was like movie. I'd never consumed media like that before in a video game, right, in video game form. Then I played Final Fantasy 11 because I was a PC gamer until we got a PS2, and then of course I played the other games. But played 11 for decades, almost as long as Heg. Played Final Fantasy 11. Played every Final Fantasy game in the series, except for like 2 from this list, I think. And I love Final Fantasy. I've been playing Final Fantasy 14 for like fucking 14 years now. It's crazy. It's sad, but like it's my favorite. I don't have, like how you always order hamburger from a menu.
Yeah.
I don't think I like video games. I think I like Final Fantasy.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think I can criticize you on the duration you've played Final Fantasy 14 because I've played Final Fantasy 11 probably just as much. But
yeah. So we've or at least my background is I love Final Fantasy. All things Final Fantasy. I'm a big Final Fantasy fan. I feel like when I talk about these games, a lot of it has to do with the story. The story is most important. The game mechanics to me are kind of secondary, but I can switch my brain on for you guys to be like, okay, let's talk about mechanics and stuff as a game. But I really truly, the heart of the story is what gets me. I don't care if it's an action, I don't care if it's RPG, I don't care if it's tactics. If the story's good, I love it.
Yeah. Awesome. I think between the three of us, you've probably played more Final Fantasy games in terms of diversity of titles. Yeah.
I've played all but 2 from the list.
Yeah.
I haven't played 4 After Years, the sequel to 4, and I haven't played the other one, A Stranger of Paradise. I haven't played that yet.
Nice. Well, I kind of probably started playing Final Fantasy games around the same time as you. I remember watching one of my older brother's friends brought his Super Nintendo over and was playing, Final Fantasy 4, whatever Final Fantasy 2, however the numbers work out, in the
2 on the Super Nintendo is 4,
yeah. So I think he was playing Final Fantasy 4, which was 2 at the time, and I was just being like, "What is this?" There's all these characters and like enamored by the artwork and everything, but I didn't really start playing until 7. I think when 7 came out on PlayStation, we had a PlayStation 1, and it probably was like bundled with Final Fantasy 7 or something. I'm not sure, or my older brother picked it specifically or something like that. But I played that game like it was probably my first JRPG that I ever played, and like all the way through as a elementary school kid, figuring out how to defeat the weapons and level up materia and all this other stuff, all the way to the very end, the fight with Sephiroth, where I paused to go back as I was like, well, I got to get Knights of the Round. I got to do all this stuff. And then my younger brother formatted our memory card to make room for A Bug's Life when he rented it from Blockbuster. So I never finished Final Fantasy VII until this year. Actually, we finally finished it. And after that, I played Final Fantasy X. I didn't play 8 and 9 because like our budget for games was minimal, so we'd get like a game every few months, and the release schedule on like 7, 8, 9, 10 was so quick. I was probably still playing 7 when 9 came out, but yeah, I mean, I didn't play 8 and 9. I jumped into 10 because it was the new thing with PlayStation 2, and then 11 kind of consumed my life for 2 decades, and I've played basically all the main lines from 12 to 12 all the way to 16 as an adult. And then recently, like Sarek, I went back and I've been playing through the Pixel remasters, so and all the original games. So I played all the way through 1 through 6, just recently finished 7, and have started 8 in my replay through adventure. But yeah, I've been playing Final Fantasy games for over 20 years at this point, over 30 years maybe. And yeah, it's just been a huge part of what I do.
Hell yeah.
Cool. So let's kick it off. Let's talk about Final Fantasy 1. We've got notes and some cheat sheets. I won't read through all of this stuff, but just in case we need to reference things. Final Fantasy 1, the first Final Fantasy game, came out in 1987 on the Nintendo. And yeah, I believe the one thing I want to point out, and I don't know, I've heard that this has been debunked as a myth, not necessarily true, but I always remember the story that they called it Final Fantasy because it was Square's last ditch effort to save themselves from financial ruin. And it clearly did. I don't know if that's a real story or not at this point, but that always resonates with me and sticks with me.
That's the one that's told. I think nowadays they've been going back on it from what I've seen, where it was just like they said that they were looking for a name that could sell to Western audiences too, but then that wasn't released over when they first initially released it, so that doesn't kind of make sense to line up with their new story. But yeah, I think it sounded cool. And I love saying the Romanji pronunciation of Final Fantasy because it sounds so good. It's Final Fantasy. like with a J, like a J-I, Final Fantasy. And I love thinking that, hearing the Japanese man saying, Final Fantasy 14. It's just like so like Final Fantasy sounds so, I don't know, like it's nice. Like it makes me, I don't think I'm a weeb, but it makes me feel like a weeb for a little bit. It's like, wow, that sounds cool. Final Fantasy. So Final Fantasy, yeah. I don't know if it's true, but that's the campfire tale. And it's a nice tale.
Nice. No,
we need to talk about for this game. This is Hironobu Sakaguchi. This is the father of Final Fantasy. This is his first game, right? He's with us until I think 12, and then he's gone because of the financial failure of the movie.
Yeah, Spirits. We should have put Spirits within.
I thought about it, but I was just like, even I want to consider that one. So Hironobu Sakaguchi's first entry in the series, young guy. This electric company makes this gaming company that makes this game, Final Fantasy. Here are my quick thoughts on this one, right? Like several entries in the series here, a pioneer, right? Like 7 is a pioneer. I think 10 pioneers some systems, 11 pioneers some systems, 12 things like that. 1 pioneered some systems. We had jobs, we had advanced jobs. You had shops. It was kind of like a Western RPG meets Eastern RPG in aesthetic. Overall, I think the pixel remaster looks like a better realized version of the game, and more polished, and like the definitive version. But even in its definitive form, I would still place it around a B or a C. Should you play it? Only if you're interested in seeing like the origins of Final Fantasy, or you're looking for an old school RPG, JRPG to play, and want to see like one of the founding fathers, right? Like if you want to, you think about like the big 3 of anime, like Final Fantasy is one of the big 3 of JRPGs. It's worth checking out, but overall as a game, and the story, it doesn't really have much of a story. It's one of those things where like you're an adventurer and things like that, and it has a little bit of a narrative, but it doesn't have any named heroes yet in the series, in the first one.
That's kind of one of the main problems I had with it, is it was so story light. This is, from a historical perspective, the origin of the old guard. You got Sakaguchi, Uematsu, and Amano crafting this thing together, but there almost isn't a story. So unless you're interested in seeing where this came from, the origins of this kind of RPG, then I don't think it's necessarily worth playing. So I'd probably go with C tier.
I think
mentioning the story real fast, like somebody in BM mentioned the convoluted time plot twist. I think that's one of the coolest parts of it, actually, is that like Garland is in this time loop, and like you fight him like in the chaos in the future and it's this infinite loop of him going to that dungeon, and like that's kind of cool. That's actually the coolest part to me. But overall, exactly what Sarek said. It's just like you're kind of making your own imagination up on like what's happening in this world.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the things that like really stood out to me in playing the first title, Final Fantasy 1, is like how much of the foundational stuff that you still see in the games in the series that are coming out now, or decades later, they had like implemented in the first one. They've stuck with it, and they successfully hit with those things. So I mean, it is cool, and it has that like there's a historical relevance and all this other stuff to kind of like it being the grandfather of this entire series, with all these games that have iterated from it. But the other thing is that like it is very story light, but it also kind of like it shocked me in a way in how like Dungeons and Dragons coded it is. Like it is a Japanese RPG, but it has a lot of these like Western D&D like themes to it and vibes, and I think every fantasy thing is iterative of Dungeons and Dragons, which is iterative of Tolkien or whatever. I'm sure you can trace something back in that way. But like in a way I kind of forgive the lack of story in like, oh, we're leaning into this like this RPG in a Dungeons and Dragons sense, where we're creating the story, and there's a conflict that's happening around, but like we're self-insert characters where we're defining what the character is. But I all in all, I think in terms of a game, it's like it's a hard one to like really hard recommend. It's like I wouldn't say like this is the best game I've ever played. I think you have to recognize the historical relevance, but I would agree like probably like B-, C+, like bordering between the two.
I think that puts it at a C tier. I think some notable comments about Final Fantasy 1 that's kind of like stayed with us over the years is that the artwork and the style of the background of Final Fantasy. We have Amano doing the artwork of the quote unquote Warrior of Light. So we have the Warrior Light as the poster child for the first Final Fantasy game, although the Warrior Light appears in the PlayStation version of they made like a cinematic when you got the PlayStation version of Final Fantasy 1, and it had like this really cool cinematic with the Warrior of Light, and it's like he never appears in the game though, right? So he's just kind of like he's Amano's art brought to CG, and you can see him in the artwork there up in where it says current debate up close up in the corner there, his horns and stuff like that. Very Final Fantasy style. 14 does a really good job of like making these Amano arts alive. I love this artwork, and this artwork will continue for the rest of the series now. The other person we got from Final Fantasy 1, guys, Uematsu. He gives us Prelude in Final Fantasy 1. All the way in 1, we have Prelude, which appears in every other Final Fantasy game.
And really quick, I did put a poll up in my chat if anybody wants to cast a vote as to where this should land. Feel free to vote in the poll before it expires. But yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Like some of these mechanics, some of the spells, some of the class architecture, the music, etc. That just like, hasn't been preserved because it's like just out of obligation, but because it's like, oh, this is good. This makes sense and it fits still.
And if you guys are curious, the Metacritic score for Final Fantasy 1, this one is a little bit low because I think it's before the Pixel remaster. The Pixel remaster, I think, brings it up significantly. But before the Pixel remaster, it sat at 67, which is what, a D plus?
Yeah.
I wouldn't disagree with that, honestly. I think the historical value of the game is doing a lot of heavy lifting, but it is quite a harsh game. I mean, if you guys played the Pixel remaster, walked out of town, got slapped around, and then had to figure out how to do revives with the limited money you had, you can literally soft lock from not being able to revive, for not having money to revive. So I think as a game it has its flaws, but it was still great fun to play.
And it's fun.
So when the end boss is difficult as hell.
Dude, and those fucking war machines are difficult too when you're like in that dungeon. The other big thing about like when we going through this chat, like if we're talking about strictly games, like the more modern games are going to have more polish, because I think Final Fantasy Rebirth, for instance, is the most polished Final Fantasy iteration in the entire series right now. It has everything. It has amazing mini games, amazing cutscenes, really good combat. Like it has every polished and modern thing that you'd want. Versus Final Fantasy 1 came out on the NES. So it's like, think of quality of life back then. Give it think of the context.
Historical context.
Right. But yeah, I'd probably agree with that 67. It's like, it's not a game that I'm like, oh man, I need to go back to this one. You know what I mean? Constantly. It's just like every once in a while, it's like fun to boot up, but.
Nice.
I think it's like, to do it again.
If you're a fan of the series, you should play through it. Absolutely. You should play. It takes like a day or two, like depending on how much time you want to put in, you should play it. But like, again, like, it's not one that you're like, oh, I'm going to master this. I want this to be my game that I play all the time. Chat generally agreed with us. They predominantly voted a C. We had a little bit of a spread. So we'll stick it in C for now. I think as tier lists go, as we place things and deliberate, we'll probably move things up and down and back and forth and start trading positions and negotiating. But for now, I think that's a good spot to land. Cool. Let's move on to Final Fantasy 2. I know we did some 14 talk, but we joked before we started that it would take us 45 minutes to get through Final Fantasy 1, and we started 45 minutes ago.
No, really? Oh, but then we had setup and stuff.
I mean, that's with introductions, we're fine.
We tell our background,
So Final Fantasy 2, the next in the series. This was only 1 year later. 1988. We have a lot of new features that were introduced. Instead of the nameless cast, we have a cast of characters. We have a little bit more narrative happening, and some unique systems like the stat growth system, which is kind of contentious. A lot of people hate it, but I think as an old school like MMO fan, I kind of felt a little bit of nostalgia from it, but yeah, the next title, Final Fantasy 2. What do you guys think?
Well, real quick too, for any Notorious Monster fans at home that are keeping track, because you care about my opinion so much. Final Fantasy 1 of my list of all time, my personal favorite Final Fantasies, and I ranked them in order. This probably changes. Final Fantasy 1, I ranked number 30th in my collection as my 30th favorite.
Out of how many?
Out of 34, I believe.
Okay. Wow.
So I ranked it 30th personally. Sorry, go ahead, Sarek. I think I heard you up the mic.
Okay, so I know 2 generally gets a really bad rap on Final Fantasy tier lists. I would say that I enjoyed it more than 1.
I agree.
It doesn't have the historical value for it, but it's basically one with in the Pixel remaster at least, is one with the hard edges shaved off for me. We have got this weird leveling system where, if you want to get better at int, you cast spells. If you want to get better at strength, you hit things.
Yeah.
But it's not as bad as in the original, where like if you trained an int, you'd lose strength. Or if you ended the battle without having low health, you wouldn't gain any health if you leveled up. And you actually have a story in this one, and named characters, as you say. And people who come and join the party and die, who have beliefs and quests and goals. I don't know. I thought it was, from a story perspective, more endearing to me than 1.
Totally agree. I totally agree with you. I think my biggest problem with 2 is actually one of its strengths, which is the systems. You could do stupid stuff like punch each other to get your HP up. You know what I mean? Like there's like stuff like that where it's just like new territory, and so these developers don't know like how they're going to torture us or how we're going to cheese it or break their games. And I think 2 has a lot of like grinding and old school stuff, but like it has Firion. Firion's fucking cool as hell. It has like the War of the Roses. It has the Emperor. It has like the Emperor goes to hell. Like there's like this whole arc. There's a war. Like it's actually it's very bombastic in its departure of like, hey, this is a fantasy world. Here's some fantasy stuff, and here's like a realistic like war as well. Like I thought they did a really good job with the story. The artwork, they have Maria, like there's all these different characters in this thing, and they all have artwork done by Amano, character design, very, very pretty. Overall though, I'm giving it a C as well. Higher than 1, but it's a C.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I think in general it's like I totally agree with everything, the both takes, and like Final Fantasy 2 feels so different from Final Fantasy 1, even though like the technology leap, the way the story is presented, it's like it's such a minimal amount of time, and like they probably went straight from 1 into 2 with making very minimal changes to the game itself. But they learned a lot. You know what I mean? They released this first title. It obviously did well enough to make a sequel immediately. And they're immediately like, okay, people want more narrative, and you start seeing like more of that foundation of what Final Fantasy ends up becoming forming. But ultimately it really is like Final Fantasy 2 kind of is just Final Fantasy 1 with some extras, and some tweaks. So I don't feel bad putting them near each other, but I think honestly I agree that like it kind of goes above 1. It's like
it does because like think about it this way, guys, right? Like 1 is this, like 2 fleshes out and it becomes this thing where, oh shit, this is a story. This is something that has like lasting power. Whereas like the first one is like, oh, it was a game. You know what I mean? And like the second one, it's like it's a game, but also like you got to watch a movie. You know what I mean? Like you got to experience something like that. And I think that's what pushes it over. On my overall list, like I said, I put 1 at 30th. 2 gets placed at 26th place for me on my all-time list, personal list.
It's pretty close. Yeah, and I think in general, like 2 is kind of like in the modern, like obviously 1987, 1988 was a totally different like game development situation than it is nowadays. So like moving back to that context, like things released in different ways, and expectations were different.
The stat system is kind of cool though, like for the time, like that's cool. Like I can't think of other games that really had that, right? Where like cast your spells. It's the Final Fantasy 11 skill up system.
Exactly.
Too.
It's a skill up system. Like, and that's what's cool, is that like that's something, and like World of Warcraft did it too, like decades later. It's kind of fundamental in a lot of RPGs, and it was an experiment, and like they were learning it at the time.
That system was apparently developed pushed for by a guy called Akitoshi Kawazu, who really loved D&D.
Oh, nice.
And he went on to direct the Saga series, so he found a place for his ideas.
Oh, there you go.
That's cool.
But yeah, I think that like where Final Fantasy 1 now would be like the tech demo student project that like figures out how to make the characters
proof of concept
and do
it's the pilot episode.
And 2 would have been the game
episode 1, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. That's good framing.
Yeah.
I will say too, like Firion from this, the main character from this game, gets some, like a lot of the mobile games and stuff feature these heroes way more than they were ever featured in their actual games. Like we get cinematics and stuff. If you're a Final Fantasy fan, go on YouTube and type in like Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, all Final Fantasy mainline cutscenes. You'll see like all of your favorite heroes in like their special signature attack. So we only see these characters in pixel in these games, but some of the later games showed them in like full CG, like Dissidia shows them in full CG and stuff, which is really, really cool to see your character. Like Firion is this weapons master, right? He summons all these, and he has the blood sword, and like, you know what I mean? He's such a cool character. And so yeah, two's got some stuff going for it.
Yeah. Oh, and like speaking of like, we haven't kind of gotten into items and stuff like that, but like, yeah, when you start to get the legendary items and things like that in Final Fantasy 2, where you've got your blood sword, and you're just like, oh, I'm unkillable.
Yeah, it's cool.
It also had that weird learn ask mechanic though, which where you're just showing everyone your canoe and asking them about it.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. You had to ask people, and you had to learn different keywords and stuff like that. Yeah, that's true.
I thought that was really interesting. It did make it feel a lot more, I don't know. I liked how different that was, but ultimately I'm glad they didn't keep it.
Yeah.
I could see that idea evolving into something else down the line, and like perhaps like we see it in 10, and
that's
and
what
whatnot,
I was thinking.
But maybe a little bit too early, and maybe a little bit too primitive at that point. Chat, the poll's almost ended. A lot of people agreeing with a C. Somebody's put in an S. If you want to type in chat why you think 2 is an S tier game, the best game that ever existed, you'll continue to play it on repeat for the rest of your life. Please feel to add some context, but we're going to go with the majority here and maybe put this in C, and again we'll adjust as we go down the line. Closing thoughts on 2. Are we ready to go?
Firion's a badass. Like Firion's very cool. Good poster child for him, for that series.
Nice.
First non-retrofitted Cid. First Chocobo.
Oh, nice.
Good point outs. Yeah.
First Chocobo. First Cid. So they added Cid back in to the to Final Fantasy 1 at some point. Is that what you mean?
No.
Yeah,
so like, they did. Well, he didn't appear in the original.
They added Cid in like a book that you could read or something as like historical builder of ships or something like that. But yeah, they retrofitted that in the Pixel remaster.
Nice.
Okay, this one we need to, this one's gonna be tough because there is a better version of this game, which is the 3DS version of this game. I think is superior. It's actually a fucking solid ass B, maybe even an A tier game. But if we're talking about the original, like 3 for the Pixel, the NES, I don't think it's as good of a game. How are we approaching this one?
The 3DS was like a 3D
a 3D with
remake?
Named heroes.
Yeah.
Like
this
Luneth
is where they
and all these.
Yeah, Luneth, Arc, Refia, Ignis, and before that they were just like the 4 Onion Knights, right?
The Onion Knights, yeah. And so it was closer to Final Fantasy 1 than 2.
which I always
Yeah.
thought was kind of interesting, is this kind of flip flop that they do, where it's like, okay, we have anonymous, just a party of 4 adventurers. The player will take ownership. Okay, we've got a cast with a story. Never mind. We've got anonymous adventurers. Okay, never mind. A bigger cast. They're obviously like kind of reactive in that sense. But this
Yeah. I
think
was,
that's-
again, 1 year later. So this is again very rapid in terms of how they're pushing them out. This is 1990 after the release in 1989 with 2.
I think that's a good point, and one of the reasons why I really struggled to connect to the story is you go from having named and cool characters to back to these sort of nameless onion knights, where the Pixel Remaster was trying to recreate the original rather than having the named characters in the 3DS remake. I found it quite difficult to sort of, I don't know, get into it.
I mean, this is also what it has going for it personally is the job system, right? So if we're talking about the Pixel one real fast, because Sarah most recently played that one, the job system is very, very robust, and I think that's very cool. I think the job system completely shits on 1 and 2, and I think that as a game system thing brings 3 higher up than 1 and 2. It is an elevated product compared to 1 and 2. Is it a great game? Is it enjoyable? I still think it's better than 1 and 2. Eternal Winds is a fucking amazing track. The end game for 3 is interesting, right? Like World of Darkness and all this kind of cool stuff, and like Eureka and all that kind of stuff. Final Fantasy 3, the 3DS, the 3D version is easily a B, maybe even an A for some people. The Pixel version I think is a C plus. So I'll be the odd man out. I'll give 3 a B for this one.
I would say I'm okay putting it in B as a preliminary comment. I'm okay putting in B just to have something out of C, so it just doesn't look like we're putting everything in like a barely passing category.
Wait, guys, do we even like Final Fantasy?
No, it turns out no. I'm gonna go ahead and start the poll too. So if you guys want to let us know before we've made a decision without our influence hanging over your head, feel free to hop in the poll. But I think that Cloud of Darkness is like I think they kind of up the stakes and kind of create a narrative and a story that's a little bit more elaborate. I don't mind, again, like even in 1, I didn't really mind the nameless adventurers, even in the Pixel Remaster version. Like I think that's fine, and I think in a lot of ways, like I kind of like taking ownership of the party and everything. Like you said, the job system's really, really cool, and I think that like where 2 is like just fixing some functional things and some narrative things from 1, and it's really just a continuation. 3 is maybe the first in a series of instances where it's like, oh wow, they stepped it up.
Right.
Like this, like it looks a little bit better, it plays a little bit better. There's a lot of cool stuff, and even just like the narrative elements, like you said, like the World of Darkness, and you go into this entirely separate map and all this other stuff. There's a lot of cool functions there. So I'd be okay tentatively putting it in B.
Of my ultimate list, right, my personal list of 34, I ranked this one number 25, so one above Final Fantasy 2.
Okay.
25th favorite.
I'd be okay with a low B. I'm not that big into the job system, but I'm not big on job systems. Unpopular opinion, I guess, but it did have great music.
Can you tell us why real quick? That's interesting, because there's jobs featured in almost all of the upcoming ones.
Honestly, it's mainly inventory management. If there was an easy way for me to do like an 8 where you got junction exchange and stuff like that, then I think that'd be fine. But just continually having to trade jobs for people to beat certain bosses, that makes it an interesting puzzle, but an awful thing for inventory management.
This is still Hegmo's problem in Final Fantasy 11, 90 years after 1.
Scott says, maybe don't play Final Fantasy 11. That's like half the game is sorting your inventory.
That's so funny. The inventory tick is not one I've heard before, actually, and that's cool.
Yeah. Other than that, I think it was a cool thing. For me, playing through the series, going from named characters back to unnamed characters, as I say, was not great for me, but we also got first summons. Final Fantasy with summons in it.
Nice. Yeah.
And first one with Moogles. So
Ooh,
that,
3.
That counts for a lot. That might bump
Yes.
it up to a mid B. But
Yeah, exactly. Well, okay, real quick with the jobs, and I think Head can chime in on this a little bit too, because we come from the MMOs. The jobs are so iconic to me because, like, honestly, the fashion. Like, each job, you easily recognize what a Dragoon is. You easily recognize a Red Mage. You easily recognize a White Mage, right? Because they've had these, like, motifs over the years that they've kept similarities, but also iterated on. And I love that. Like, the fashion, the glamour is 90% of the reason why you play some of these games, right? Because you want to look cool or feel cool. And I like cool characters. And this Final Fantasy job does such an amazing job of cool characters, especially when we get in the Nomura era. Yeah.
Did speaking of jobs and iconic looks, did I can't remember, and you and somebody in chat might have this encyclopedic knowledge, but did 3 or when was Dragoon, for example, introduced? I associate, because obviously, like, cover art and character feature, 4 is the Dragoon game, but were there Dragoons in 3 or previously, or was that added later?
I feel like there was in the 3DS version, but I can't remember if it was in the original 3 version or not.
you had a Dragoon in 2 in Rickard.
Oh, okay, nice.
Okay.
Yeah, he sacrificed himself, I think.
Got it. Nice.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of cool fiction. I think, again, like mid to low B perhaps for this at the moment.
Yep.
And I think we're about to maybe start mixing stuff up with the next title.
Just real quick, because we've been talking about the heroes, right? Warrior of Light for 1,
Yeah.
2 is Firion, 3 is Poster Child.
Yes.
They've chosen as the Onion Knight. So you might see in Dissidia and stuff like that, the Onion Knight is represented as the Poster Child. Although the Onion Knight is not a named character, they made like a mascot basically that has the onion armor. He famously can job swap, and that's his power. Is he constantly swaps jobs because the job system was very prominent in 3.
And I guess that's kind of the idea behind that originally, right? Is that, like, you weren't playing a particular character, but it was meant to feature the flexibility of the job system. So
Right.
like you were this kind of like
The
this
embodiment of
anonymous-
this.
yeah. Cool. All right. So Final Fantasy 4. Final Fantasy 4.
I'm gonna say it. This is where we're finally at our first A, a solid A. Final Fantasy IV. There's 2 versions that are worth playing. The original version is 100% worth playing. The mobile version is even more worth playing. I think it's a little bit more fun personally. The mobile version, and you get to see your characters in 3D, the same style they did for the 3DS remake for 3. Final Fantasy IV has an awesome fucking story. There's intrigue. There's characters. There's heartbreak. We have we see Kain on the poster here. This broody dragoon. We have Cecil, Harvey, who we find out he's from the moon. We have these amazing, like, bombastic, fantastical things, and it all works. It works so well. Like, you start off as this Dark Knight in this army. You're sent on this mission, and you blow up an entire village, and you're like, why am I fighting for this emperor or this empire? You have this turnaround. You go on this journey. You meet all these characters. You do all these things. You become a paladin. There's, like, famously, the main character swaps from a Dark Knight to a paladin. That was iconic. The battle system's awesome. We have jobs. We have named characters. We have really cool abilities. We have fun bosses. Final Fantasy IV is a solid A choice and a fantastic JRPG that I recommend to anybody who wants to get into, like, retro JRPGs. I think it's the one I recommend first out of before 1 through 3.
I largely agree with that. I think you're spot on with the story. Especially that Paladin Dark Knight fight where you're fighting your shadow self or whatever. Fantastic. We get rid of the job system. We've got fixed classes in here. We get ATB for the first time, which is a joy after having to just guess when things are going to take a turn. I really enjoyed 4, and I'd agree with an A rank.
Yeah, I think I mean all those are super valid points. I agree with all of it. I think, again, like, for me as a Final Fantasy, and this is where my bias comes in, like, I love job systems. I love being able to swap people around. But what I love more than that, and what I kind of identify for me at least, as like a Final Fantasy game is a big cast, you know, like, and this is the first game that introduces it. This is the first Final Fantasy game I ever saw, and that's the thing that like stuck to me in terms of like, wow, look at all these characters. What is this, you know? Yeah, I love it. And I also love that in our playthrough, in all of our Pixel Remaster playthroughs, where we were able to name characters, we would take polls and name them after people in chat. And of course, you know, we reserved the Dragoon role for Skode. And he, within like the first 5 minutes, the game disappears and then doesn't come back to the very end. And we're like, where the hell is Skode?
He jumped.
But yeah, I think this is a solid A for me. This is one of those games that's like, you know, I would recommend it to a lot of people. I would see myself replaying this. In fact, this might be one of the all the Final Fantasy games that I've played, I've finished, you know, with a few notable exceptions where I've started but not finished them. But like most of the time I sit down and I'll play through the whole series, the whole game until I get to the end. And I think 4 is one that I've actually played through multiple times. Like I played the mobile version when I was traveling a lot for work at one point. I played through it on stream, and I just played it in a variety of different settings. And it's just like, you know, yeah, again, it has a narrative. There's stakes, you know. I don't want, just in case, I know we said there will be spoilers, but you know, the Cid moment, but then they're like, they take all this stuff away from you and everybody's dying and sacrificing, but then they're like, oh, it's okay. At the end, everybody's happy and it's fine. So like, it has like, you know, a little bit of emotional moment and sacrifice, but you know, you end the game feeling good.
That is probably one of my main criticisms of the game, if we're gonna mention that. You had so many deaths, like Palom and Porom, you had Cid, you had Yang, I think
turning to stone,
Teller as well,
and jumping off the ship to save everybody. Yeah,
Cid, I think, happens twice as well, but he comes back again, and you know, it felt a bit inconsequential and gutless to have them keep coming back.
Yeah.
But you know, I can overlook that because the story was so good.
I think most of it is just kind of like a lot of it like the final comebacks kind of happen in the closing scenes, which like, you know, but at least at the same time, and while you're playing the game, and like for the first time, because I don't know, you had some like on-screen deaths and stuff in previous games perhaps, but like, you know, to have a playable character that you had invested in, you were like connected to perhaps, you know, just sacrifice themselves to save the group, and you're like, wait, they're gone? You know, just in that moment, you're just like, oh, crap.
There you go. So that you hit it on the head. So my defense to what Sarek brought up is like Endwalker's based off of 4. So the Endwalker spoilers ahead for this. Cover your ears if you haven't done Endwalker yet. The sacrifices like feeling inconsequential for some people, where it was like, for me, it was the fact that they were willing to sacrifice himself for us, because that we had developed their characters so well, that the fact, exactly how you describe Heg, we're in the moment, like that, it did feel weighty, and I'm fine with it not, you know, it being reversed later, because at the moment they were willing to do it, and at the moment I felt what I needed to feel at the moment, and so I got what I needed out of it, even if it was reversed later. It's like, maybe it would be weightier, but I think that's because the overall picture, I think that's what my brain goes to explain it away. It's like, in the moment, like that was consequential, and it felt like that when I played it.
I do have like a fun little trivia thing about that. The guy who suggested all those deaths went on to direct Chrono Trigger and Parasite Eve. So
they gave him a studio, and they're like, "Here, do it here."
yeah.
You can do it. You know, we value what your opinions and your storytelling, and I think things need stakes. But this is supposed to be a fun family game. Man.
Although I'm the history of these stories and finding out how much success different people had coming out of them is bizarre. It's clearly lots of talented people.
It is cool because when we get to like the Ivalice stuff and like Yoshi P, like Yoshi P's recruited a bunch of the Ivalice people, and so like a lot of the Tactics people and like Tactics Ogre and stuff have been working on 14, and like you can see the influence. So we got Deep Dungeon from Tactics Ogre, stuff like that, you know.
Nice. we're jumping a little bit. I'm going to jump a little bit ahead on. I like 6 does the same thing. I think 5 gives you a little bit of a break if I remember correctly, but 6 definitely does like keep stabbing you in the gut in mid game, and doesn't necessarily redeem it. And I think that I like 4's method just because I'm still mad that we lost Shadow in our playthrough, especially because we were warned in stream like repeatedly. Oh, like make sure you do this. And there's a clip of me somewhere where I like. Oh, jump off. Okay, yeah, we better get out of here. And like you can see it like hit my face as soon as it's too late. I'm like, wait, no, no. But yeah, chat agrees. They said a good A. It seemed to be the predominant agreement there. Closing thoughts on 4 before we move on. Good game. I think this is our highest ranking so far.
Oh, sorry. One thing that that I meant to do earlier was tell chat the meta scores as well for these. Just so we know like what most people were reviewing these games as. So let me see. Metacritic for 1 was 67. That's before the Pixel Remaster. These are before the Pixel Remaster. For Final Fantasy 2, it was 63. For Final Fantasy 3, the Metacritic score is 77. Considerably higher. C plus basically is what they gave it. For Final Fantasy 4, what we just rated, they gave it an 85. So, solid B.
Climbing, yeah. And I also, we're moving into Final Fantasy 5, which came out in 1992. And is this the first Super Nintendo title? No, 4 was on the Super Nintendo as well.
Sorry. For 5, real quick. Don't mean to interrupt you. I'm so sorry. Final Fantasy 4, my personal ultimate tier list for those keeping track at home. Ranks 13th on the list of 34 titles. Wow. Final Fantasy 4 is 13th favorite. Final Fantasy 5. Yeah.
Final Fantasy 5, second game on the Super Nintendo, 1992. And with the exception, for anybody who's tracking, this is basically, with the exception of 1989, we're looking at 1987, 1988, 1990, 91, 92. So almost every year at this point, a Final Fantasy game has come out.
Incredible.
And they're improving. They're getting better, and the scores are improving. Our opinions of them are improving, which is the most
we're getting notable characters that they're putting in other entries, right? Like you're getting Sids, you're getting Moogles, you're getting Chocobos, you're getting cool like recurring themes that are coming over from. And the other cool thing to think about it too, it's like from an asset management standpoint, it might be easy to like port during the pixel era. It might be easy to translate some of those assets.
And Final Fantasy, I think, even to this day, is pretty notable for that. They're
especially with the MMOs,
encounters, encounters, even like certain mob types. They might redraw the pixels and stuff like that, but like they're kind of like, oh, we've set the baseline. Let's recycle this. Let's upcycle this. Let's keep. We're not reinventing the wheel every time, and that's kind of like the theme. The themes are what carry the name Final Fantasy, not the stories. So it makes sense. Yeah.
That's a perfect segue to my feelings on 5, which is the spirit of Final Fantasy is here. The spirit is here. Jobs. I love jobs. It's got jobs everywhere. Fantasy. It's got fantasy. We have a chocobo that can shrink it down and come into our pocket. We have a cast that, the cast of characters is actually pretty good. I think it feels lighthearted. It feels a little bit different. It's very like, we're going high fantasy for this type of thing. Like let's really like dig into the fantasy part of it. Overall though, I think it's one of those games that's like, it's like, cool. I don't know if I need to come back to this anytime soon. I would give this a B rating. I think it's better than Final Fantasy 3. In my personal all-time tier list, Final Fantasy 5 I put as 24th best, my 24th favorite. Mainly because I love Bartz, I love, his dad, I love the pirate captain, Ferris. I love those characters. So fun.
It just as my personal aside, through my playthroughs, we were very heavy into I don't know what came over me, but we were voice acting most of Final Fantasy 5 and some of the other titles, and I was like, oh, Ferris, pirate captain, got it. I'm Ferris. I'm the pirate captain. And then like we get a
That was
little
so
bit in, and
fun.
I'm like, oh, your sister Ferris. I see. Well, the voice has to stay now. Yeah.
Well, when you first meet her, you don't know whether
Yeah.
you know if she's
Yeah, I think it's
girl or
supposed to be that way, right? Yeah. It's
exactly.
until Bart tries to like she accidentally sees her naked or something.
No.
Some like 90s like Japanese trope of like sneaking up and on them on the hot springs type of thing.
Yeah.
He was very lecherous in that game. I noticed Bart's.
Gentlemen, if you'll allow me to flip flop, I enjoyed the job system in this.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
The story I thought was excellent as well. I liked having the ability to learn sort of off-class abilities. I thought that was really cool to sort of like subclass jobs that you had. We got blue magic for the first time, I think.
Yeah.
I think.
Blue Mage?
Yeah.
Probably.
I think
I
I
think
preferred
so.
the story in
I
this
can't think of-
to 4.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Yeah,
still-
I mean, again, I think that like when we're talking about like one, and like again, my experience is like colored by playing the Pixel remasters. That's my most recent memory. So like, it might have been different back then, but like 5 to me like feels like such a jump forward in quality, like visually, and with the intricacies of the job system and like a lot of the things that were implemented.
The sprites are
But yeah.
different for sure. And
Yeah.
it's funny because if you guys, anybody plays Terraria in chat, the sprite for Bart's is what they use. They use Bart's sprite for the Terraria character, which is
really?
interesting. Because it's the perfect iteration of the sprite at that time. Bart's character. Would you guys rate this above? So the Metacritic score for this is 1 point below 4. This one is an 84. 4 got an 85. I don't know if that helps or informs your decision at all. I think it's a great game. I would put it at B. I think it's a yes for fans of the series. If you like Final Fantasy, play 5. I don't think it's a must play by any means of like, oh man, I'm gonna give you an RPG list. You have to play this game. But if you love jobs, like it is a great one. But I would pick Tactics over this one for a job system that's very meaty and enjoyable.
Having not played Tactics, I would say that the depth that we got in the characters and the relationship between like Galuf and Faris and Lena, that really struck a chord for me. So I would be happy to put this in like low A, if you wanted.
Low A?
Yeah, I mean, I think it does feel like, you know, like as one of the Pixel games, I would say low, like I agree, low A, high B, it's somewhere in that range. It feels like, you know, and this is kind of where I think I would expect Monster to rate it higher, but like this is the first game, in my opinion, playing through them that like feels like a show or like a movie playing out. Like 4 still feels very like a video game story, whereas like 5 feels more like, oh, I could see like the other media creeping in and like the way they're telling the story and the way the characters interact. It has like a much more like cinematic experience in a way.
It feels high fantasy to me. Like it's very storybook, right? Like
Yeah.
but I feel like because it was so storybook, it's actually one of my it's not that I don't like silly stuff. It's that I don't know. I like my Final Fantasies a little bit more like make me cry type of thing. And
yeah.
and 5 wasn't
This
that.
is more like high adventure kind of like,
Right.
you know, not like emotional tugging, but
I want to feel like I want to self-reflect, and I didn't really self-reflect after playing Final Fantasy about it.
Well, that's because you didn't grow up as a pirate.
True.
So-
That's fair.
But yeah, chat put it in at a B with second runner up. So I think everybody's kind of stuck in this B.
I think it's the
plus, A
highest B we
minus
have
range.
currently. It's a
Yeah.
B
So
plus.
I think we could put it top of B for now, and then we'll adjust if it needs to bump up or down later. We can make that call. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right.
This next one, I don't have. You guys have played this more recently than I have. I only played this like way back when. This next one, I will say, is probably our first S because hold on, hear me out.
Whoa.
because of the pixel era. It is the most superior of all the pixel games.
True.
It is the definitive pixel experience for Final Fantasy. It has so much. The game is fucking long. If you wanted to, you could put 500 hours into this game. There's just so much fucking to do in this game.
There's so much fucking to do. Before we move on, I just want to make sure, because I might have missed it, but did you get your Metacritic and your NM scores?
Yeah, let me get you the Metacritic score
for 5.
For Final Fantasy V was an 84, just 1 point shy of Final Fantasy IV, the previous entry. Final Fantasy V got an 84 Metacritic score. Again, this is before the Pixel remaster, so that might be a little bit higher now. My personal NM's personal lists of personal favorite Final Fantasies of all time. Final Fantasy V sits at 24th favorite. 24th, just 1 point ahead of Final Fantasy III, 1 point behind Final Fantasy 13-2.
Wow. Okay. All right, so 6. NM has already placed this as his first S tier.
And again, this is me being as a Final Fantasy philosopher type of thing, you know what I mean? Armchair philosopher, of course, no real credentials. This is the definitive pixel experience. It has depth. It has everything going for it. And I think my plea to Chad on this one is, in context of this list of the pixel games, I think it is the superior product. It is the crown jewel of the pixel games, and that's why I think it deserves an S here. It's a must play.
And I totally agree with that. And like I've said, well, first of all, like to my previous point, like talk about a movie like this one, the opening scene with the Magitech walkers walking through the snow, and like this really has like they keep pushing the narrative and like evolving it.
Super Nintendo technology. We had the use of the 3D trails for like the airships things and stuff like that too.
This is again, and this is 1994. This is a 2-year jump from 5. Huge cast, which resonates with me. And I've said numerous times recently, I struggled with Final Fantasy VII a lot because 6, like you said, is such a like pinnacle of the storytelling in this like pixel format. Like they mastered it by this time. They had learned a lot, they were obviously learning from 1 to 2 and then 2 to 3 and then 3 to, like every game they were making improvements. And by 6, like they had figured out how to tell a story in this format.
By the way, this is Final Fantasy 3 on the Super Nintendo for the uninitiated. You may have played this growing up as Final Fantasy 3. It had a Moogle. Yeah, because
4 was 2, and then they skipped 5 for a US release, and then 3 was
6.
6, yes. But yeah, like it's so and like that skip from being a masterpiece and like a mastercraft of pixel storytelling in the Final Fantasy format with this giant cast of jobs going into like the Proto 3 of Final Fantasy 7, I think is for a lot of reasons why I struggled in my 7 playthrough. But yeah, I mean, I agree. This is of the pixel games, it's the best one for a lot of reasons to me. And, because of that, I could see, S is a prestigious spot, like it's going to be hard to put anything in S. And I'd be okay with putting this as our first S tentatively, and then maybe negotiating to an A+ if it gets too crowded up there. But I mean, I think it's at the top of the list for me for sure.
I mean, S is going to be crowded, I feel, because there are a lot of good games. We're trying to be as fair as we can with this.
Yeah.
But, I would have to agree with both of you on this is, for me, the best of the Pixel remasters. I enjoyed it the most. This is the first game where we're seeing Sakaguchi stepping back as director and going into a production role. We're having Kitase and Ito coming in to do the direction, which you'll know from later Final Fantasies. But yeah, absolutely agree. A really interesting story, lots of gut punches, lots of horrible turns, and awful characters. Not, in terms of badly written, but just awful people, which I personally love in a story. For a couple of
they're always the Empire, you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. But yeah, Ultros as well. which is
Ultros,
fun.
yeah.
And of course Kefka, who was talked as this sort of legendary evil guy for so many years when I was talking to people about Final Fantasy. Yeah, 100%
It's fucked up what they did to him, right? Like, they inserted all this, like, Esper shit into him. You know what I mean? Like, it's not his fault he went fucking mad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like the same thing with like a lot of the characters. Like in like a lot of the characters are flawed in a lot of ways.
Victims of circumstance or of war and
talking about previous titles, this one does it too, where you have an opportunity to entirely skip some characters. You have an opportunity to lose some characters, but granted, by the end of the story, we win, but like the world loses. Kefka wins halfway through the game, and like you have to reconcile that and like reform the party and pick up all the pieces before you can move on. And it's a pretty crazy story.
Incredible sprite work too. The Kefka model at the end, the oh my god form is incredible sprite work.
Oh, like in like the tower of the pantheon he creates.
I think it's an S. Sarek mentioned that he thinks the S is going to be crowded. I think if we're thinking of the perfect game, I actually don't think S is going to be crowded. I think that we're going to have like 3 or 4 titles up there total. Personally. I think look, 6 is not my favorite. Oh, my personal list. Let me give you guys the Metacritic score first. The Metacritic score for Final Fantasy VI is a 92, very, very high. A 92. That's the highest we've had so far on the list of all that we've ranked. So that is a solid A rating from Metacritic. On my personal list of Final Fantasies, Final Fantasy VI ranks in at 8th place. My 8th favorite Final Fantasy.
Oh yeah, wow. You're like, I don't think we'll have many S's, but I have 7 more games that go above this one.
No. I have a couple games that are equal to 6, but I think 6 is the bar that I'm thinking of as far as like the pinnacle for what we have at the time, because this next one will surprise people. I'm pragmatic when it comes to Final Fantasy VII, and I'll be honest with you here.
Okay. I last point. I gotta like again harp on the cast of Final Fantasy VI is one of my favorite parts. Every single character is super cool and super unique. From Terra to the Locke and Gao. Their Go-Go is even super cool. I love all the different characters. And I think the definitive Hegmo of Final Fantasy series wide, Cyan is the most Hegmo character of all of them. So
you picked Cyan. Yeah. I thought you were picking the Sasquatch guy.
Umara, pretty cool, but I think they might have modeled Cyan off of Hegmo.
Okay. Now I see it. The mustache. Okay. I was thinking about the other
long
body hair.
The mustache, the rugged good looks, the honorable swordsman. Yeah.
To play devil's advocate, is there any points that you didn't like about the game?
6?
Yeah. I mean, I think that in any RPG, one of my least favorite things is because like I love like playing and like all the Final Fantasies do this, to be fair. But one thing that is a recurring thing that I don't like is when you become attached to a character. You're like, oh, I love this character. And then they're like, okay, you don't get to play them for the next like 8 hours.
Aww.
You're going to take him away. You lost him. He's coming back. And then he leaves again. And you're like,
we're swapping to the cast of losers you recruited that you didn't level up. You're like,
but I don't want to play him. I haven't learned any abilities with Gao.
There was quite a lot of that. We lost Locke for quite a long period, and I kind of distanced myself from that character. When he came back, it was like, cool meeting up with them. But it did give some, not lesser characters, but some characters that didn't have quite so much backstory from the start of the game, a chance to shine, like Cyan, like Celeste,
Yeah. I will say 6 was undigestible for me as a youth. Final Fantasy 3 was above my pay grade, just my age lined when the 3 release came out. 3, I remember renting 3, and 3 was one of those games I picked up and put down like a bunch of times. And so it took me forever to beat it, and I didn't beat it until like my college years. And finally just sat down and played through it. So it's just a lot of game. And like for a younger person, 8 was finally where I was old enough to understand, and I could read all the stuff and understand what was happening. So 6 was one of those 3 was one of those games where it was really tough for me as a youth, but as an adult, I can appreciate it. However, since I don't have that attachment, it's not one of my like, oh my God, this is my all-time favorite, but I respect it because of everything that it is.
I will also say, just as a little aside here, the Tower of Magic is bullshit. And the guy at the top, who I had to rasp and osmose because I was like level 30 and couldn't escape, it was just awful.
And I mean, I will say, like, I have a lot of respect for the way Sarek plays these games.
That's what I was going to say. The fucking the clock. Did you see that, Hag, on stream?
Yeah.
Sarek did the clock on his own. He talked to every fucking NPC, like 36 goddamn NPCs, and solved it. And I'm like, who plays like this? Who plays video games like this?
He's like solving puzzles. He's like, oh no, I went to this Tower of Magic and I don't have I'm gonna figure it out with what I have. I personally, like, I'm playing it to experience it, and I'm like, I've got the guide open, and before I go in, I'm like, okay, get all these spells. Okay, perfect. Don't proceed without this. All right.
Yeah, hey, it's because we played Final Fantasy 11. I really think this is because you cannot play Final Fantasy 11 without having BG Wiki open or something. You know what I mean? And because of that, that's how I play every game now.
Exactly.
For me, that's part of the attraction of playing these games for the first time. I want the same triumphs and pitfalls as everyone else who played, the first time, whether they lost Shadow or kept them, or found this particular ultimate weapon or didn't. I want that experience, because I can always use a guide the next time, but you can only play it first once.
That's true.
They call that
honorable,
like the hunt,
indeed.
Right? Like looking for the trading card in a pack versus just buying the card right out, right? It's the chase. It's the hunt. That's fun.
Yeah, quite a good game. I do think it's great. Any final thoughts on 6 before we move on?
The artwork is Terra and Tina in some versions on the Magitech armor. Fantastic character. Esper. There is like an $11,000 statue that you can buy of her. Just Google it. Yeah. Just Google Terra statue. It's incredible. It looks amazing, but it's $11,000 or more. Maybe it's even more than that.
And this is a lot of iconic fights from this and themes and stuff that pop up. Suplexing the train, etc.
Machinist, right? Like some cool classes in this game too.
I think too, like 6. What is really cool about 6 is not only the classes and like the different characters with different classes, but like at least in the Pixel remaster, like you have your monk, that does this like input command combo system versus like all the different, like, not just like, oh, he's a samurai, so he has this ability, or he's she's a white mage, so she casts heals, but like the way they play starts to become different, which is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
no limit break yet until
we get to Final Fantasy.
My favorite system in all Final Fantasy is limit break.
Sorry, not to wind back too much, but I will say 6 was also the first time we see Nomura in the art department.
Okay, Tetsuya Nomura character designs. So Nomura is a good guy to bring up now because we're in Nomura era. Then Nomura, you guys can recognize him from his character designs like Cloud, Squall. These broody guys with way too many belt buckles. His art is very distinguished. All of Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy 15, think of those games. Final Fantasy 7, he designed Cloud. He designed all these characters. Cloud is like an actually like older protagonist. I think he's like, how old is he in the 27 or something in the game? Instead of a 17-year-old or something like that, which is often the case in some of these games. Look, I'm just gonna come out and say it. There's plenty that can be Final Fantasy 7 can be talked about forever because it's one of those games where it changed everything. And I think because it changed everything, I think people rate it a little bit higher than it really is. I think Final Fantasy 7 is a solid, strong A. I don't think it's an S. I think a lot of people will argue that it's an S, and I can understand why. The impact it may have had on you, the impact it had on the gaming industry. It was one of a kind. It has an interesting, if not convoluted, Kingdom Hearts style story, but that's Nomura. That's what he does. It has multi-discs. There's like multiple like acts of this game, which is interesting. There's something that Hegmo loves, which is like recruitable casts, like big casts. There's missable characters. Interesting materia system, mostly well received. Limit breaks. Ultimate weapons. It has the gold saucer. It has flying. It has land vehicles. It has really difficult optional bosses. It has hidden secrets. It has Knights of the Round. It has chocobo raising. It's got so much fucking content. It is a fantastic game. It is a must play. I think if you're looking for JRPGs, and I think it's an A for that reason. And that's my final thoughts.
This is okay. So, and this is 1997. This is our biggest time gap between releases so far. 3-year jump.
Incredible graphics. They are boxy. Scribbles and Nibbles brings up the boxy. I think at the time they were like the most realistic things I've ever fucking seen. Especially the cuts, the FMVs in between.
On the PlayStation. So, and I've heard rumors before that was a mid-development pivot, that it was originally going to be a pixel game, and they pivoted it to 3D halfway through development or something like that.
So Final Fantasy VI originally was supposed to be on the N64. However, it didn't end up happening. And then, or excuse me, Final Fantasy VII. They had a tech demo of like Final Fantasy VI characters on N64 and like tech demoing the thing, but Square eventually went with PlayStation instead. And so 7 was brought over to there, and that's the rest is history.
Nice. And yeah, I mean, I think that it's hard. This one hits me the hardest of like the like technology limitations of the time being so evident. Something about like, I think that we're used to seeing retro style games in this like pixel format, that they feel more like natural in a, like, even though they're dated in the technology's older, it feels more natural, whereas like proto 3D feels more jarring to me. And so like I said before, like 7 was really hard for me to play through recently, even though it was like one of my first Final Fantasy games ever that I personally played. And it was like, you know, it's just hard to get into coming out of 6. And so there's a lot of things you can really see them utilizing next gen technology by it being 3D, by shoving all this content in, being able to deliver it across multiple discs so that they can really expand the story out, like you said, and have it in multiple acts. Being able to shove in all these side games and all these like mini things and gold saucer elements and all this other stuff. And I think that there's a huge leap in technology here, the biggest perhaps leap in technology that we've seen in Final Fantasy in the games that we've talked about. But like it,
especially the FMVs, like those FMVs at the time were industry stand, like they were like the ILM of like Blizzard and Square did the most amazing fucking FMVs at the time. And like the motorcycles. Do you remember when you're escaping Shinra? The bike scene starts and it fucking changes to that 3D cutscene. You're like, holy shit, Cloud on the bike.
Well, I still remember some of the 3D animation, like, because they have these like kind of pre-painted background type things,
which I love. By the way,
every once in a while they like do this 3D animation transition as the elevator goes up or whatever.
Right. It's like half cutscene, half painted. Yeah.
Even as a kid, I was like, man, can you imagine if they made the whole game like that? Like, it looks so real, you know, like a lot of it does. But then there's always like this kind of like, you've got your like Playmobil characters stuck in that world.
But remembering from when it came out, I guess we're doing the modern take of it now. Remembering when it came out, I don't remember that bothering me at all, but I was 8 years old on the PC. You know what I mean?
And it's also like, you have to remember that like when the first time I played Final Fantasy VII, was under entirely different circumstances. Like, you know, not only is my experience different, I haven't seen games the way I've seen games now.
Right.
But now I played Final Fantasy VII on a 4K monitor. And when I played it on a 10-inch CRT TV. You know what I mean? So like, you didn't have a chance to really see how janky it perhaps was when it's scaled up into high resolution.
Well, shout out to Steam, because actually, just like last week, Steam re-released Final Fantasy VII on Steam and added quality of life updates.
I need to see if I because I need to see if I can still redeem the upgrade, because they were offering like you can upgrade your previous version
I need to do that.
into the current one. I think you lose your save data and stuff.
I don't care about that.
If you do, yeah.
Let's just get the new version.
Which is why
if you have the old version, it gets automatically upgraded. The saves I don't believe are compatible.
Yeah.
Oh.
But thankfully, modding almost is. There's a canary build for a lot of the mods for it.
Hell yeah.
To sort of go off on 7 a bit, it is a very special game to me. There's a lot I really love about it. Everything from the design, the story, the characters. We get some incredible characters in this, and interplay with things like just the Barrett and Dine story is wonderful.
The showdown, man. Heartbreaking.
The connection with Marlene throughout the whole story, from beginning to end. We have a character who is an unreliable protagonist coming through, someone who doesn't know who they are because their head's been so messed up. And that's not revealed until late disc 2.
And Tifa not being sure what the fuck he's talking about, it works. Like Tifa revealing that she's like, I don't know what the fuck, this isn't how things happen. I don't know what he's talking about. Like that shit worked, actually, I think.
I feel like this is a wonderful example of sort of show don't tell storytelling. There's a lot of even not FMVs but cutscenes where characters are displaying so much emotion even with such limited
boxy
capabilities.
Emotes.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of this game. This is probably my highest rated game.
Really? I see. This is where I will have to be like the negative one, because like as this, just like everybody's favorite James Bond is their first James Bond. I think a lot of us in our generation, a lot of the people in chat, a lot of us are the same age, and this was like, because of our age, this is our first Final Fantasy game. And so like this game resonates with a lot of people. But like playing through it recently, there's a lot of elements where I'm like, man, I think I don't like Final Fantasy VII. Like, I don't know. Like, I think this is one of the first games where like, and maybe because it's the style of storytelling or whatever, but like there are some great characters and there's some great narratives that pop up, but it's like one of the first times where I kind of roll my eyes at some of it and I'm like, okay, yeah, we get it. Like,
hey, this is the only time I'm gonna well, maybe not the only time, but I'm gonna roll this one out. And I think truly the only, and Heg knows this lovingly, I think Heg is a natural born whatever the off meta is, he's just naturally attracted to.
Oh,
and I think Final Fantasy VII is such a mainstream, and I mean this, I truly mean this, like literally, it's such a mainstream hit that I think naturally it has the stuff that Hegmo's like the indie guy. Like he's like, I actually like the indie track more than the pop hit. And I think 7 has everything. 7's an incredible game. I would say it can be an S if we're talking about like, okay, it's this definitive PlayStation 1 era, but I actually think that 9 shits all over 7 if we go that route. So I won't go that route. I'm going to stick with an A. If Sarek wants to put it in an S, I won't argue with S. I actually think it's fine as an S, but I think it's a very strong A+ for sure. I can give you guys the Metacritics too if that helps. Let me give you those real fast. Metacritics.
And I personally would put this in a B. If like I would put this in a B. It's an okay game. There's a lot of stuff that I don't enjoy about it, but yes, I am a off meta champion. I love the secondary characters. I play Galka. You know what I mean?
But the world needs like drummers. The world needs bass, but you know what I mean? Like some people don't like the lead singer. They like the drummer. You know what I mean? And that's cool too, and that's totally fine. And I think that's important about this our opinions tier list to kind of like temper each other. Because I know which one you guys are going to temper me on.
You said 7's the only one that you're going to contest me on. So that you said it.
No. 7 was not the one that I'm going to bring up. That I think you will see that like for any viewers at home, like Heg's like taste palette and stuff like that. You'll see like more of the more like 4, for instance. Like that's kind of like a refined taste. Like people who know ball know 4 type of thing. You know what I mean? I think you're going to see more of that, but a dislike for the popular ones. That's my prediction at least. But let me give you guys the Metacritics, the popular opinion here. The popular opinion for Final Fantasy VII is equal with Final Fantasy VI. This is a 92. In fact, 3 in a row, we get 92, 92, 92 from Metacritic for Final Fantasy VI, 7, and 8. We can expect the same from that. They were all rated 92, 92, 92. On Notorious Monster's personal list of favorites of all time, Final Fantasy VII ranks number 10. Number 10 behind Final Fantasy X, but in front of Final Fantasy Rebirth.
So chat is as split as we are, and it's ranked tied between an S and a B. I will concede to the meta, and I will put this, if you'll humor me, we'll put it at the bottom of the S tier for now. And
this is Sarek you're arguing with.
Yes,
I think it's an A. Sarek, this is all you.
I am, as long as it's an S tier, I'm happy. There's so much that this game did. If you're talking about historical importance from like Final Fantasy 1, going 3D, leaving Nintendo, going over to Sony, having MIDI tracks for the first time instead of sound chips, having recorded choirs on Sephiroth's tracks. It had an incredible soundtrack. I don't think I would be happy with it going any lower than that.
I'm fine with that. I think that's a popular opinion to have. I don't think it's an unpopular opinion. I think if anything, me and Heg's opinion is probably more unpopular.
You want a fun fact about it?
I love fun facts.
Originally, Sakaguchi's proposed story for this featured Cloud as a New York detective.
Yeah.
I mean, Midgard for sure could seem that way. I love when you drive past in real life. You drive past like a paper mill factory or some shit, and like there's all that smoke billowing, and there's all these lights on the fucking machinery, and you're like, shit, this is like Sector 7 shit, you know? I'm in Midgard.
Yeah, this was Katase coming back in and slicing the script up. Apparently, Sakaguchi had like all these disparate ideas, and he pulled it all together for him.
Oh, okay.
I like the idea of like Final Fantasy VII Noir, like just like Cloud being like, so I another long day on the beat, you know, like
dude, the opening with Aerith and the flower, right? And it's dun dun dun, and if it was black and white, that totally works, dude. There's like smoke billowing, dun 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 dun. You know what I didn't realize? I still to this day I didn't realize until I watched the video last year. Aerith stopped by, you know, where she like kneels down and like something's dripping. I didn't realize what she was looking at, because you know she kneels down in the opening cinematic in both the original and remake. It's fucking life stream dripping out of the fucking ether pipes. So that's why Barrett and them are like trying to blow it up, because they're pumping the life stream from the planet, and that's the dripping coming out of one of the pipes. And so Aerith has like a natural affinity for it, right?
Sarek's like, yeah, that's the whole story.
I didn't realize that as a kid. I didn't realize that what she was kneeling for. She was just. I thought it was just introducing a character.
Yeah, there are so many little instances like that. It's wonderful. I love all the little bits that it adds into it. I see Widget there saying it was the first non-medieval FF game as well.
Yeah. First into like a sci-fi-ish setting. Yeah.
This was the first one where Nomura was set loose with his own character design.
Mm-hmm. Well, so, I mean, I guess like you could argue that six in a way kind of like with the what's the big city like in 6 that like the Emperor runs over, and it has like this technological vibe, and like the Tower of Babel and everything is very like mechanical.
Well, even in Final Fantasy 1, like the war machines and stuff are all mecha. Like there are sci-fi elements, but it's the first like modern place like setting where everything is set modern.
Yeah, there's cars and things like that. Yeah.
Like Final Fantasy 6 is set in like a Star Wars universe type of thing, you know?
Fair enough. We are at a crossroads here. So we obviously have quite a few titles to go through at this point, right? We've made it up to 7 in the main line, and this is actually our first opportunity to do some rapid round, perhaps, side projects and remakes and things like that.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to go 1 through 16, or do you want to go really quick to remake, Rebirth, Cerberus, like these
I think you should do the second thing, and I also think you should get out of the way like the titles that you guys have not played and only I've played, and that way we can kind of get the finale can kind of be the meaty stuff.
Agreed.
Sure. Well, in the Final Fantasy VII realm,
what comes next?
Dirge of Cerberus.
We can spend very little time. Okay, raise of hands. Who has played this?
I have actually not played this.
I've played about 20 minutes of this.
Okay, here's what it has going for it. Okay, Vincent's the main character. Vincent was one of the coolest characters in 7, right? Like everybody loves Vincent. A missable character. Like Vincent is so memorable though, being in that coffin and recruiting him. And Vincent has a really good story in 7. His background with Hojo and his mom and Sephiroth, or his ex or his girlfriend, his lover, and Hojo being his ex-lover becoming Sephiroth's mom. Like he's a really cool character, right? Cerberus is the name of his pistol. It's like this 3-headed gun. It's very cool. This takes place shortly after the events of Final Fantasy VII. I think before Advent Children, however. It is a shooter game, a third-person shooter game. Kate Sith is in it. Yuffie's in it. They've also introduced like a new guy. The story is, it's a PS2 era game. Here's what it had going for it. It had multiplayer online, which was very cool. It was like a Final Fantasy online multiplayer game.
Difficult to do.
It was so difficult to do and get connected, and it never works. It was awful. This game is the worst rated on my list of all the games. It ranks number 34 in last place out of all Final Fantasies. This is easily a D- for me. It's not worth playing. The fact that people even know it, it's like, oh, okay. That like you brought up somebody, you brought up a dead relative that I was glad was dead for a while.
Wow.
I would not contest that. I owned this game on the PS2. I bought it for like £10, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, something like that. Played it for 20 minutes and then just kept it for 10 years and then sold it. Like it didn't make an impact on me. But I thought it was worth including in this list.
I'm always afraid having like vitriolic opinions on the internet because there's scary people on there. Guys, this is just an opinion, and it's at the end of the day, it's just a joke. Okay, like I'm an idiot on the internet. Don't come for me. My opinions are always wrong.
We've already got an S in the chat pool, and again, if you want to come forward and explain why this is an S, please do. This is the one that I never played, and like I love Vincent. My Final Fantasy VII lineup and the original playthrough was like Red, Vincent and Sid. Like I want the off meta champion reporting in again, but like I thought Vincent was super cool. He really resonated with Edgelord Hegmo when he was a preteen, but I somehow never played this game. It just wasn't on my radar, and I've just heard the memes. So
real quick, starting with 7, can we also, the three of us, say what our final party comp was when we fought the final boss? What was yours in 7?
Mine in my most recent playthrough, Cloud, aka Jorker, Kate Sith, aka Notorious Monster, and Sid, aka Seropio, in my final lineup.
Nice. What about you, Sarek?
For me, it was the original lineup of Cloud, Tifa, and Barrett, and
wow.
I probably augmented that with Vincent. I used to think he was super cool when I was a kid.
I never had all of his limit breaks as a kid, but as an adult, I finally got all of them. Nice. My first original party for the final confrontation was Cloud, Vincent, and Kate Sith. And
I think
garbage.
Also, I think it's a tough one because like my alternate party would probably be Cloud, Red, and Vincent. Those are. I think Red's like he's a red mage. He's so cool. Talking dog with a fiery tail.
And I love his story. The Cosmo Canyon storyline is one of the strongest in the game. I love that storyline where he sees his father, who he's thought like betrayed his village. He's
actually the heroic.
He saved
sacrifice himself. Yeah. Let's quickly talk about Crisis Core, another game I haven't played.
There's 2 versions of it. The newer version's way like more like modern. Me, Gungaga. That's where this comes from. This is the story of Zack Fair, the real Cloud Strife, who Cloud thinks he is at the beginning of Final Fantasy VII. The real
what?
soldier. This is First Class. We learn about Angeal. We learn about Sephiroth in the soldier program. This is a fantastic game. It offers more context and lore to 7. It also like tells everybody like the backstory of like how we led up to the events of 7. It has awesome cutscenes. I believe originally this was on the PSP. That's where I played it. I think it's a great game. I think it's an A.
An A, nice. And what type of gameplay is this? Is it like a third-person adventure kind of deal? Is it a turn-based like 7? Like how do you play, Chris?
It's like a hack and slash. It's a PSP game, right? So it is limited in the sense of like scope, but think like PS2 era gaming.
Yeah, it's like a mission-based system. So there's sort of areas where you have a load of NPCs to talk to, and you can progress elements of the story through that, and then you have to go off and do like these monster-slaying missions where you have to go and kill like 8 of a particular creature or something. And that was a loop I was not too fond of. I played. Mechanics. Yeah, I played the new version of, I played the original on the PSP, and I played the new version recently, and there was a lot I struggled with this game. I really forced myself to finish it. There's so many like cool elements of this. Like I loved learning more about Zack and his backstory. I hated Genesis, like this sort of
Naruto style villain.
Yeah, this guy like spieling off poetry every 5 seconds was not my idea of a fun character. Like anytime you interact with him, he only replies in prose. It's not, and I feel like
Sarek's gonna hate Urianger, guys. Remember this. Clip this.
I feel like it's a story that could have been cut down a lot, and didn't necessarily need to be told. So okay. I like that. I liked learning a bit more about Zack, like before he got involved with Cloud and that kind of period, and seeing what Midgar was like in that period of time in this series. But I wouldn't say I enjoyed the game.
I think without this though, Sarek, this is like, it's like a pillar though, because without this game, Zack as a character has no weight or breadth or depth at all. And the remake and rebirth don't work at all without Crisis Core happening.
That might be true. The only things I've seen of the remakes is, what I've seen on stream. I haven't played them myself. But I would say that 7 could probably do without it. I don't feel like Zack is weightless.
I think Crisis Core is better than Advent Children. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, I mean, I could compromise for a B rating then.
Okay. Chat voted a C.
I think better than 5.
Do you think Crisis Core better than 5?
Ooh, maybe not. Maybe not. A PSP game.
Yeah.
Better than 3. Again, better than 3, the Pixel version.
That I didn't play, but Zack as a character is one of those characters that's like, he's briefly shown in like a flashback or a few scenes, like a couple seconds of I don't even know if he has any voice lines or some written lines in 7, but it's like this was the beginning of the era because of the age I was, where like you'd find stuff on the internet that was like secret way to play as Zack in Final Fantasy VII, save Aerith and she doesn't die, and it's just like none of it works. It was just people making shit up on the internet, but like Zack had this like mystique to him, and so like I remember like hearing about Crisis Core and thinking it was really cool that there was this finally you get to play as this character.
Well, and Zack is everything that Cloud was advertised to be. He was the mercenary, like he was, what I mean, like he is the soldier. Like Cloud was not a like Cloud was one of those guys in the blue Shinra police uniforms, right?
Yeah.
And so like Zack had the Buster Sword. Zack was Aerith's boyfriend. He's the one who went away. Like it's like he's the boyfriend of the chosen one, Aerith, right? Like I think Crisis Core is fantastic, and of course me, Gungaga. That gives it a B at least to me.
I would say that you find out all those points without Crisis Core though.
But you never get to see them, and the cutscenes are cool.
All of those plot points are available in 7.
Are they though? Because
yes,
I mean,
genuinely yes.
I mean, I don't think Angeal and Angeal for sure isn't in 7. Angeal's the one who gives him the Buster, like the origin of the Buster Sword and stuff, and the uniform is Angeal's uniform. Like Cloud is wearing exactly Angeal's uniform because Zack is like Rock Lee to his mentor, Angeal.
So we can put this in a low B. Is that okay as a compromise? We put this in the bottom B or.
No, Kachio. I'm not wrong on this part. The Angeal is not in 7. There's things in Crisis Core that are not in 7.
Yeah, Angeal is not in 7.
Below 3, top of C.
And also you get to see like Sephiroth's training arc and shit like that, and you get to play out what really happened in Nibelheim.
Is this better than Final Fantasy 2?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it better than 3?
Better than the pixel version, not better than the 3D version. So no.
So is this a C+?
It's the high C, I guess. It's the high C.
Okay.
Damn, I really thought it was an A at the beginning. You guys talked me out of this. Okay, let's go in order then. Let's go remake and rebirth.
Yeah.
I will say I don't think I have Metacritics for the like some of the spin-offs and stuff, but let me just double check and see if I do. I don't. Oh no, I do. Okay. What was that we just reviewed? Crisis Core.
Crisis Core.
I have everything but Crisis Core. Hold on. Crisis Core received a 78 on Metacritic. So I told you guys you're wrong. That's actually C. C is 75. So that makes sense. That's in line. Final Fantasy VII Remake. I don't always have to go first, by the way. I just take on the mic to fill the quiet in my head. You know what I mean? Final Fantasy VII Remake, fantastic game. You play it and it's like, holy shit, it's everything that I pictured in my head as 7. It's the action combat's cool. It has like a slower mode if you're into that. The stories played through, the way you get to see these characters, man, like it's breathtaking seeing Aerith like in a solo, those solo like dating close-ups they do where it's just Aerith or just Tifa or just Jessie looking at you. Oh my god, it makes my heart melt. The story's good, the voice acting cast is incredible. It's a fun game. It's not as good as Rebirth, I think, when we're going to compare the two here in a second, but it's a fantastic game. Also, I think it's a better game because it diverges from the story. Yeah. Something is not right on this timeline that we're on. We're not on the original timeline. Something's weird's happening. Sephiroth is trying to kill people in like every fucking multiverse. Something to do with the live stream. We don't know what the fuck's going on. It's our cast of characters as we know it, but everything's a little bit different, and I think it actually works really well. Very good retelling. Yeah. Remake is a solid A. Easily, I recommend anyone play it. If you're looking for a modern Final Fantasy, you want to pick something up, start with Remake so you can play Rebirth, because Rebirth is truly the cherry on top here.
Yeah. Question: if you've never played Final Fantasy VII, is Rebirth a good game to? I would play Remake first and then Rebirth, because Remake's the first in the series, Rebirth's continuation of the series. But I would say so. If you've never played 7, it's a good way to experience it. They give you enough of the story in these games that, like, as a newcomer to the series, you're not going to be like, wait, what's going on? I don't understand. But like at the same time, for long-term fans, there's these things that are like, wait a second, that's not right. That's not how it happened. Why? But like in a way that's like intentional and it feeds into the narrative, like you're saying. I think that, 7 is the 7 remake. I will rate, I think like you said, like, it's an exceptionally good game, and it's a little bit lower in my rating just because Rebirth is better. You know what I mean? And there's so much good going for it. Like, I think that they did such a good job, like, respecting this game that is like S tier to so many people,
right?
And like being respectful of it, but iterating on it in an interesting way. It's exceptional, and I also stand by, like, 7 is one of those games that's come out in the past, several years, because it's been a while since 7 Remake came out. I don't remember which year it was, but it's been a little bit of time now. But like, I remember playing 7 on PlayStation and being like, holy crap, this is what video games look like now. You know what I mean? Like the
2020
art
on the
direction,
PS4. So this would have been like industry standard, or not industry standard, but like the cutting edge experience on the PS4, the remake on 2020.
And so like even still, like the fidelity of the models and stuff that they put together for this, it's like, wow, like this is like what it looks like when they really invest into creating a really high quality game. Like I think it just looks fantastic still.
It was at the time a a next gen experience when you got this game, and in so much so where they ported it to PS5 for people who they had like the Intergrade and stuff like that, which we're not rating on here. The Intergrade's great with Yuffie, fantastic DLC. We're not rating it though. Yeah, I agree with everything that you just said. Sarek, have you played Remake?
No. I've watched a fair bit of it. There's a lot that I struggle with, as you know, a big fan of the original. I'm I'm not a big fan of kind of emo Sephiroth. I preferred his like OG design. But I'm very glad that they splintered off of the main story. I think that's the only way that this game could exist, frankly, with the sort of fervency of the fan base. So I'm excited to give this one a go with an open mind. I went to a Distant Worlds performance of the soundtrack, and to hear how much care they put into that, it makes me really hopeful that I might actually enjoy this game.
Nice. Yeah. It's incredible, man. There's like new scene, like everything plays like you remember with 7, especially if you're a big fan of 7. This is for Sarek and anyone in chat. It plays like 7. You're like, you do the train mission, the bombing mission, right? Then you go to 7th Heaven, and then it starts to diverge, and you're like, you get to see like, hey, what would have been like if you had access to like a house here and like all this kind of stuff. And it's very, very, very good. And then the fighting is cool. The summons are cool. There's like new modern takes on like how you get summons and stuff. It's a modern experience. And so for someone who like coming into the series, I would say, yeah, play 7. It's a modern game. You won't be turned off by the systems, because it's still like current generation systems.
And also, honestly, I really like the like party system in this. Like, I think it does a really good, like, kind of iterating on Final Fantasy 15's like party swap, with you have a party and you're controlling one and the others are still acting based on, you know, commands or following up on stuff you're doing, but like you're able to active swap between different characters. I think it strikes a good balance of that like action game with RPG elements, which I think is pretty cool.
You mentioned party swap a lot, and it's funny because I've never really cared about, like, the only time party swap I thought was like, wow, this is game changing, was 10, where we could swap in and out. We'll talk about it then. But like, and I can see why you don't like 16 so much, because you bring up party swap so much. That for me is never, like, cast of characters has always been cool, and like character design. But as far as like, I always put myself at, like, I am Cloud when I'm playing, you know? And so for me, it's like everybody else is a side character to me. Like, I'm like Cloud, like, you know, is my main.
We're already like, you know, we can see the psychological
divergence is there.
Divergence. Like, I love the little characters, and like that's again, like when we get to 16, that's what's missing. You know, so it's like I relate to, like, I want to be, you know, Red, or I want to be able to play as you know, Kate Sith or whatever.
Hegmo's
like,
a Piccolo main, guys. Isn't that cool?
100%. You know, like, so it's like losing access to those is like is non Final Fantasy to me. So yeah, but I would say,
and I think honestly, that point real quick too, just a real quick one on this remake. A lot of people felt like that towards this battle system. Some people were losing their goddamn minds that it was an action Kingdom Hearts, closer to Kingdom Hearts style battle system. Some people lost their goddamn minds. Guys, give it a rest. Go play the game and then complain, because it's got 2 modes, and both the modes are fun to play. Both of them are fun to play. Is it turn-based? No. Is it fun to play? Yes. Like, that's what you should care about,
I think,
truly.
I do think that there's enough like ability queuing and like RPG elements that
to
like
feel
it still feels respectful of like the, like, oh, I'm queuing up a cure with this character and I'm doing the damage and popping my limit break with it. You know, like it still has enough of this. I would say This one's tough for me because I personally think that remake is actually better than 7, and I know Sarek just died a little bit.
I think it's better than 7 too, but it can't exist without 7, and so that's why I think
I would put this at an A+, possibly above 4.
Oh, easily above 4, I think.
Yeah. And that creates an issue because I think that the next title on the list that we can jump into, Rebirth, is actually a better game. It's a great iteration on the what they did with remake. And I, just for me to jump in and be the first one to kind of diatribe on this one is like I never finished Rebirth. I got a good portion of the way through and I haven't yet finished it, but I will come back to it. But I just remember after remake, which was extremely good, but you are kind of on this like linear track and you're following the path that they put out before you all the way through to the end. And Rebirth, when you like open the doors at the beginning of the game and you see this world and it's like this flood of light, I was just, like, it's one of the few game experiences I can think of in the past decade or so that like I was like, oh my god, like that took my breath away. I cannot wait to keep playing this game.
I think, okay, guys, you got to bear with me on this, chat, everybody. Rebirth objectively is the best game out of every game that's on this list here. From a game mechanic, from a systems perspective, from a graphics perspective, from everything. Rebirth is the current zenith. It's the pinnacle of what we currently have. It's just a fact. Will it be like that forever? No. But currently, this game is the pinnacle. It has everything. It is the second highest on Metacritic. It is a 93, Rebirth. So from the popular opinion, it is the second. It is Game of the Year candidate quality. It was a Game of the Year nominee. It is a fantastic game. The game battle system is so fucking awesome. There's so much to do. You could spend hundreds of thousands of hours in this game. There's some people might say too many mini games, but it's such an incredible and it's so faithful.
Chat is actively saying it's bloated open world garbage. So
great, don't play it then. Don't play it then. Then play the main story. That's what I have to say for you. I think that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, out of everything on this list, guys, not what's your favorite. It's objectively the best game we have currently because it is the newest. There's so much love and care put into it. Everything is modernized. It is currently, I think, an S tier game. Will it forever stay there? Maybe not. Maybe it'll be trumped by the next one. But I think currently Rebirth is an S tier. I think it goes up currently as one of the topper. It doesn't matter. It's not about newer isn't better. It's more of, guys, it's not about being new. It's about it has a budget. It has a development team. It is a worldwide phenomenon. I don't care what you have to say because literally it is a worldwide phenomenon. It sold a fuck ton of units. It's critically acclaimed. It was Game of the Year candidate. So everybody's saying, well, I don't care. I really don't care because you're wrong. Just use Google. You're wrong.
What I will say, Monster, is if people disagree with us, the cool thing is that they can make their own tier lists. And
you can make your own tier list and then cry when you Google it and see you're wrong. That's what you can do.
I will also add in that I have a massive disclaimer where I've not played this game. I have no horse in this race. I have massive respect for the old game. But I'm going to leave it to the guys who have played it to decide on the new one.
I think currently if I had to show you if someone asks what's the best modern Final Fantasy, if they played 7 as a whole package, 7 is the best thing that I could give them. If someone asked for the best currently, said, hey, I want to play the best non-pixel Final Fantasy, what should I play? Rebirth would be the best experience that they could get.
I would say though, like in that it is hard to like, because like if I were introducing somebody new, like I would, Scoopy's never played a Final Fantasy game. We were talking about this earlier, and like I would not recommend Rebirth to her because she has to play remake. You know what I mean? I have to look at them as a package in that sense. But I mean, I do think it is really good. Chat got really, really heated on that. But somehow majority voted S for it. I guess the people that were really upset were just too busy raging in chat to put their D's in.
Or it was easy to Google it for 5 seconds and see that it's the highest rated non-main number Final Fantasy of all time. It's that easy. And to see that it was nominated for Game of the Year in a fuck ton of categories, music and game and everything. So it's one of those, it's pop music. It's not for everybody. Yeah. That's totally fine. But I think if someone were to ask me, show me the most polished product that you have, Rebirth is currently our most polished product.
I mean, I think that I have trouble putting it in S, but I do think it is better than Remake. They improved upon the system. I prefer the open world kind of experience versus being stuck on rails. I would say it's a high A.
I think chat plus me overrules you and puts it in S.
Well, there's also chat that didn't vote the whole time.
Oh, okay. So we're talking about the people who didn't vote.
My horse is back in this race. Yeah. Can't go in S.
No, people who didn't vote. I think, look, maybe put it in front of Remake, but I'm telling you right now, guys, it is the zenith. I just learned that word and that's why I keep using it. Because it's zenith. Have you noticed? Yeah. It is the pinnacle of what we currently have out there. So Hegmo's going against me and chat and putting it at A. I want the VOD to remember this.
A plus. I'm gonna put it A plus.
That's not what me and chat said. I just want the VOD to know that's not what me and chat said. So 2 against 1.
They need to be. I think that they are just like 2 materia that have to be worked into 2 link slots. Rebirth and Remake have to be side by side.
It's totally fine to have a wrong opinion. You can just Google it to figure it out. It's totally fine. That was 93 on Metacritic, guys. As far as like my personal rating on Notorious Monsters like all-time favorite list, Rebirth is 11. 1 space behind Final Fantasy 7. So I do put it behind Final Fantasy 7 just because of what 7 is. And I think my personal experience with 7. Rebirth couldn't exist without 7, so I put it at 11.
When I played this, 7. I would love to come back to this and talk to you about it and see what my thoughts are from someone who does care about the original so much. I feel like the rose-tinted glasses for this, the nostalgia works both ways. So it's difficult to say, 7's rated too highly because of that, and 7 Rebirth, Remake, whatever, are rated too low, weirdly, because of that. I think it works both ways, and top of A, I'm fine with.
I'm fine that it's wrong, but yeah, I'm fine. You could just Google it and see what's the best Final Fantasy game currently.
I think you should save your ultimate protest for maybe one that's coming up near the end of the list.
No, because like I told you, I have my own personal list and it's different than this list, and that's totally fine. I'm telling you for the viewers at home, what would I recommend to you? That's my opinion on this, is what would I truly recommend to you based on my experience of these games. And Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is the pinnacle of what we have currently. It's the most polished product. It's fantastic. You'll sink tons of hours into it. Do you have to play Remake before? Yeah, probably. You should probably play it before, but it's like one of those things where you got to play A Realm Reborn to get to Heavensward. It's like one of those things to me. It's like,
unfortunately,
oh, I'm sorry, your lobster's too buttery, your steak is too juicy. Sorry, we ordered an appetizer for the table. Eat it and shut up. All right, let's go. Final Fantasy VIII.
Final Fantasy VIII is the next title on the list.
I'm kidding. This is fun. This is just for fun, guys. I'm just having fun.
Final Fantasy VIII is the next title on the list, and I have just started playing this for the first time. I haven't finished it. This is one of the mainline games that I've not yet played in entirety. And I will say I've played the first few scenarios and chapters of this game so far, and I honestly have noticed that chat either loves it or hates it. Extremely divisive game. And I think honestly it feels like a fantastic evolution. A lot of things that I don't like about 7 I aren't quite as prevalent to me in 8, at least so far. I think that there's some crazy, talking about the mind blow of some of the cinematics in 7, the opening cinematic to 8, you're like, wow, really good.
Not only cinematic, but the Phthos, Lusek, Wekos, Vinosek, the witches song is incredible. What an opening. And these fucking gun swords, what the hell?
Cool.
We've never seen that
evolution
before.
Of the idea, like talk about like sci-fi, and like you have now this like kind of futuristic feeling setting, new types of weapons. I honestly don't think the draw system's all that bad. I think it's fine. But maybe as I progress through the game, it will my mind will change. But I'll sit out of the debate on this one because I haven't finished it. But I do think that it's a very memorable game and an iconic one in the series.
Yeah, I'd agree. I love how different it is. This is the stage where Sakaguchi is no longer being involved in production. He's gone off to make Spirits Within in Honolulu or wherever it was.
Oh no,
and,
movie.
And so that's why we've got people who've been given full reign of what they want to do with this game, and they tried to set out to prove that Final Fantasy could be this sort of Hollywood romance of a this juggernaut of a story. I think it largely accomplishes that. I really enjoy how different it is, even now within the whole series that I've played anyway. It has some great character design, great enemy design. The story's kind of nuts, but I love it for it. It's the odd child. I really like it.
8 was my favorite of all time until I played some of the other games. 8 it's like my first type of thing, right? Like 7 I did play first, but 8 was the one I dated, right? Like 8 was the very first game of all time that I ever 100%ed. I'd never 100%ed a video game, never cared about that. I collected every card, I had every summon, I leveled to 100 for every character, I did every ultimate weapon, I did everything that you could possibly do in that game. I loved that game. It was one of those games where like I had nothing else to do. I would just log in and play Final Fantasy VIII, right? And that's because I'm an MMO person. You can kind of see where that habit continued. But I love Final Fantasy VIII so much. I cried. I'm trying to think. This game came out in like 98 or 99, somewhere around there.
99.
So I would have been 10 years old. And I remember just like bawling when Renoa's oxygen tank ran. Oh, fuck. Sorry, Hank. Sorry. Like, okay. Sorry. I'm not gonna. So, anyways, there's parts that I cried. I forgot that you haven't. I'll skip some of this stuff, but it was mature. I loved it was an easy to digest story, except for some of like the sorcery stuff. But like on subsequent playthroughs, there's a whole subculture of a certain website that you guys should check out that I won't say right now to spoil Heg. With like a whole different alternate theory. Final Fantasy VIII suffers from one thing. The dub, the localization for 8 is kind of weird. I guess it's not true to the Japanese very well. And so it's kind of like a loose translation. And so some people have issue with that. I can only judge it as the game that I played back in the day. And so I know it from its original dialogue. I love this game, love the summons. This game is what Final Fantasy is to me. Like it's story and its summons and its monsters and its romance and its heartbreak and airships and all these things. Like it's quintessential Final Fantasy. I think 9 actually beats this, but my bias actually puts Final Fantasy 8 a little bit higher. So Final Fantasy 8 on this list I would put at an A above Final Fantasy 4 at this time. And I do think we're going to run into this, guys. Everybody in chat. 6 through probably, and with Tegmo's chat, 6 through 11 is going to be a lot of like, this is the best Final Fantasy because those were so formative for all of us. Yeah. Right? They have such a character that you love so much. You love the design, you love the story, you love whatever about it, right? You love the game. We're going to be running into this territory where all of this is like, we're talking about classic flavors, strawberry, vanilla, chocolate, it's like they're all really good ice cream. It's just preference.
Yeah.
Let me give you the Metacritic score real fast as well, so you guys have it. The Metacritic score for Final Fantasy VIII was 92. Yeah, this was the 92 block. So 6, 7, and 8 are all 92. 1 point below Rebirth. I will have point out to chat. Wow. Still not as good as Rebirth, but better than
crazy. I would like. There's so many iconic things in 8, and I do think that it stands out. I also want to point out we had going from 6, so the end of the Pixel era, into 7 was a 3-year gap, and this is part of why I never played 8 is because 7, 8, 9 was this crazy rapid development schedule,
Right.
where 7 was 1997, 8 was 1999, and then 9 was 2000. So it's like,
and then 10 was right after
year.
9.
Yeah, and then 10 was 2001. So it's like almost every year in that period, you have a new mainline Final Fantasy game. And again, like I started playing 7 on PlayStation 1, and like by the time 10 was out, I was still playing 7. You know what I mean? So like I didn't get to finish, move on to the next one, or I didn't get to play this as a kid. But yeah, crazy fast development.
I would say that this game also probably features some of the best work that Uematsu's done.
Yeah.
I think 8 is a real triumph for the soundtrack. I think it's a great game. I'd be happy with high A.
I think above 4 for sure. I think behind Rebirth and Remake maybe, or I mean, if you're lumping them together, I mean, even if you're lumping them together, I think again, we're talking about strawberry ice cream. You know what I mean? It's like, I think it is better than 4.
I mean, I personally, from what I take, I think it's an A. I think that, again, like, this is one where a lot of people are going to be pissed off.
It's
like,
on par with 7.
This game is terrible.
It's on par with 7, but I don't think it's S rank.
Yeah, personally, in my opinion, I think 8's better than 7. But I'm okay because I haven't finished it. I'm okay putting it like perhaps at the top of A with these. We can shuffle maybe 4 over and put 8 in its spot.
Notorious Monster's personal rank for Final Fantasy VIII is biased. I will say that this is one of my only biased ones. I personally think this is one that's not rooted in reality. I have it in my fourth favorite Final Fantasy. It should probably be my 6th favorite Final Fantasy, but it's my 4th because
I should get chat's opinion too. So please add some more opinions. Chat, please vote.
I do think that a reason why this is so divisive for a lot of people is that you got to be able to connect with the characters, and a lot of people were turned off by this sort of like school mentality kind of thing. They tried to add some grounding in it with like these the seeds and things like that. And yeah, you had this sort of slightly convoluted time compression dreams plot going on, which a lot of people found difficult to connect with. I can see that. I still love it.
One of the best endgame gauntlets, though, I won't spoil it for Heg, but the endgame dungeon splits your party and you have to do different objectives, which I love in a game. So it's like half your party is doing something, and what they're doing on that side of the dungeon unlocks rooms for you on the other side. And so you're constantly working through the dungeon, and it's really fun. I like it.
One of stream that Sarek turned me onto a stream that speed runs 8 fairly frequently, and I've only experienced most of the game in French because of that, because apparently the French version is the go-to speed run for some people. So I've seen a lot of 8, but I don't necessarily, and especially watching a speedrunner, you're not picking up any story anyway. You're just like seeing things on screen. You're like, okay, cool, we're in space. All right, yeah, nice.
Fantastic mega bosses in that game with like the speedrunners probably don't get to see that, so hopefully you'll get to see some of the mega bosses and some of the optional stuff. But again, this is Brady Guides era for me. I had a Brady Guides for this game. I loved this game.
Yeah.
I will say as a negative point for this, I don't feel like the junction system is particularly well explained, and it is not.
Oh no, it's not at all.
It's not easy to do, but it does let you do some really broken things. If you invest time into trying to understand it. So yeah.
I will say the argument there is I was 10 years old when I played this game, and I 100%ed it and had every item in the game and stuff. So it's like, it can't be that difficult because I just remembered like pressing optimize a lot. You know what I mean? Like I didn't even mess with the junction system too much because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So I was able to 100% the game without truly understanding the system. But Sarek's right. Like, if you know what you're doing, you can build your characters really, really cool ways.
Yeah. You can do like some crazy busted stuff with their stat scaling and all this other stuff. I will say though that like, I think that the junction system and the draw system and a lot of Final Fantasy VIII is lost to modern playthrough because like this is an era of games where like they were designed to have a companion booklet and also a strategy guide that you probably had to buy. You know what I mean? So like they don't very well explain it in the game because they expect you to be like studying to get through to that point to understand.
Yeah, the seed exams were only half a joke. I will say another thing is that I don't think it's particularly well explained that it's got scaling enemies rather than being able to grind.
So unique, and it's it's the first time in the series where the open world, every enemy in the game scales to your current party level, which can be good, but also like some people specifically try not to level so that way the enemies are easier. I didn't know this as a kid. I was like fucking level 100 at the end game, and I was just fine still.
You're like, I'm level 100 already, and everybody's like, oh no. And you're like, yeah, it's awesome, isn't it? All right, so chat voted A plus S minus, so I think we're in a pretty decent spot here. I know, again, divisive title. A lot of people hate it. A lot of people love it.
92 on Metacritic, just like 7, just like 6. Okay, so there you go. And here's where it gets interesting because everybody's going to be wrong again. Because this is the highest rated Metacritic Final Fantasy currently of all time. This is the highest reviewed, highest rated Final Fantasy of all time because truly, I think this is where people are biased. This is the quintessential. If you were only allowed to show one Final Fantasy story, artwork, ideas, concepts, images to someone, the Final Fantasy IX represents everything. It's the culmination. It's like the anniversary edition, right? Where it's like, we're going to give a love letter to the series. You're going to notice like Garnet's going to have like this outfit and it's a white mage outfit, right? And you're going to see summons again, but new lore. Nine's an amazing magical story. Some of the most incredible fucking cutscenes. You guys remember the fucking Odin and Bahamut scenes? The fucking Alexander city scene it just blew your fucking mind at the time. 9 is people's favorite because if you like Final Fantasy, you like 9 because it has everything. Like, what's not to like? You know what I mean? It has like, oh, you like Final Fantasy? Oh, you like parties? Well, guess what? You can use a party of 4, which is an upgrade from 9 or 8. Excuse me, there was only 3. There's multiple. The learning system for for abilities. You equip a weapon. Like, let's say I equip Mage Mashers. Well, it has an ability tied to it, and it's an AP system. So the more battles I do, EXP goes up on the weapon. Once I learn it, it's permanent. I can now swap to a different weapon. I love systems like that. Really easy to do. There's missable shit in that game. It is the deepest and darkest story I think of Final Fantasy until probably like I don't know. Like Endwalker is based off of 9 or not Endwalker. Excuse me. Dawn Trail is closer to 9, but the end story of Endwalker is based off of Final Fantasy 9's end story basically. It's very like I won't say it. I'm not going to say too much, but I'm basically Final Fantasy 9 is rated highly by the players. I think because of the way we have 7 up here, I think it's an injustice not to put this above 7. However, I'm fine with it being on the A rank. However, I want to remind everyone, this is the highest rated Final Fantasy of all time out of all the games currently on Metacritic, based on however many thousands of reviews.
And this is for my take, this is the one Final Fantasy mainline game that I have not even opened. I've never played it. I'm familiar with the characters. I'm familiar with like the art and the styles of it, but I've never gotten to it in my adventures, so I can't speak too much. But I will say that one thing that really resonated with me is like this idea that it really was this return to the fantasy. Like I think that 7, starting in 6 even, and like really into 7, we got into these like sci-fi vibes. 8 kind of continued that with this kind of modern futuristic vibe, and 9 is like this return to fantasy, but also roots. Like the roots. Like like you're saying, like Vivi is the iconic black mage now. This is what black mages are. The white mages, like you have the white mage representative. You have a knight. Like all these characters are just iconic Final Fantasy, and so
Well, and the story is fucked up. It's the most like puppet looking Final Fantasy. Like they look like caricatures, right? But it's a story of war. It's a story of what's that word when there's like no point in anything? Nihilism.
Nihilism, yeah.
Nihilism. So there's a lot of nihilism in it. There's like when you get to the Mist continent, everything changes. You're like, oh shit. What? And like you question like mortality and like how much time you have and like what do you do and like what happens after and like what should happen after. Like there's a lot of that kind of stuff. And so it's a very modern, mature take in a very like fun, tutti fruity package. You know what I mean? Yeah. But also like go back and play it. Well, you haven't played it yet, but for those of you who haven't played it in a while, check out something called the Moguri mod, MOGURI-MOD. Someone has like polished and until we get we haven't gotten a true remaster for this. But someone has like polished all the backgrounds, the PS, because this is on PS1, guys. They polished all the PS1 backdrops and stuff, and the game looks beautiful. It's a beautiful game. I've cried so much at this game. Amazing soundtrack, dude. I used to take the PlayStation disc for this, put it in my CD player on the bus, and go to 7th grade. I was like a 7th grader, and it played "Melodies of Life," which is the soundtrack of the main song for this. And I would listen to that song on the ride to the bus or to school, and every time it hit a bump, it'd skip. But this is a fantastic game. It's so sad. It's better than 7. I'm telling you, it's better than 7. 7 is there because it's historical, just like. Yeah. It's the 3D graphics, but I think 9 is a superior game. I think 9 for sure outranks 8. My personal list, I put 9 at Final Fantasy 9 was at number 6. It should have been at number 4 instead of Final Fantasy 8, but it's my 6th favorite Final Fantasy.
Wow.
Final Fantasy 9 is fantastic.
Well, that's quite a lot. It's higher than I expected you to rank this. I didn't think this would be up your street at all. And perhaps to surprise you, this has tussled with me for first place for a number of years. 7 and 9 have exchanged at different parts of my life, with 7 probably having the top spot for the most time. But this would, in my list of the ones I've played, be my number 2.
Wow.
I think that has a lot to offer. There's loads of charm to it. The story's great. There is... This is the first time Sakaguchi's coming back with some hands-on story writing, despite being in the producer role. Yeah, I think the soundtrack's great as well. I think some things in it are a bit weird, like, learning skills off weapons. I didn't really get on with when I first played it,
I love that.
I didn't get on with the chibi art style, which.
Yeah. That is hard to shift, especially coming from like 7 into 8 and like this more realistic vibe.
I remember at the time, looking at 8 as an evolution from pixels and 7 as an evolution from pixels and 8 as a refinement of that, and then 9 we had more expression in these characters, but probably at the expense of realism. And it took me a while to be okay with that, I guess.
Yeah.
Way more storybook than anything, for sure.
Yeah. I think this game's so charming. I love the ATE, the little bit where you get to see little side stories whilst you're playing the game.
If you don't know, chat, this is Active Time Event. It was a new feature in Final Fantasy where, while this stream is happening, it would show you it's happening on Darth Kidius the Wise's stream right now as well. And it's like, it shows a clip of Gamer Fangirl on fire running in the background while Egmo and I, we're doing this tier list. You know what I mean? Like it was so cool. Very cool system.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
I will say this is the largest poll reaction we've gotten from a game and the most votes in a single category for any game so far. And it's all S. A lot of people think this is an S tier game.
It's better than 7. I think it's better than 6 personally.
Yeah.
And so I would rate it above 6, but I understand what 6 has done for like the pixel. 6 is like, it's like, we're talking about like patron gods here. It's like we're saying Artemis over fucking Ares or some shit, But I'd rank 9 as our highest then. Because again, this is objectively true. If you Google Final Fantasy highest scoring game, 9 is the highest.
I think we could put it at the top. Does anybody feel like 6 is objectively better than 9?
I think,
at this point. Or...
I also think that it's like they should be really happy you're in the VIP seatings anyway. You know what I mean? Like they're all like they're in the club. Like why are we even upset that one of them isn't in front of the other? favoritism.
Yeah, I mean, for me, there's going to be like a little jostling here. I'd probably put 7 top, 9 second, 6 third, and in that 3. But I do agree it just does have to belong in S rank. So I'm okay with making some concessions.
You know what's crazy?
I mean, we can shovel around later, and like again, like we might look back with clarity and be like, you know what, actually,
I think 8 belongs with the clarity. Yeah, exactly. I think 8 belongs as the last one, but 8 belongs because I mean 8, 6, 7, and 8 are rated the exact same, and they're all 3 amazing games. But yeah, I get you.
All right.
Final Fantasy 9.
Final Fantasy 9. What a game!
Should we do some spin-offs real quick to knock some of those out?
Because sure, let's
the
knock
meteor
some
stuff.
spin-offs.
Let's do some spin-offs. We can't do 10 2. Let's do 10 first and then do the spin-offs for 10, actually. That might work.
Okay, yeah, 10.
10, and then we can do 10
That's a
too.
good spin-off break, yeah.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 10. Now, this is another, like, this is a...
It's
like
a 7,
one,
right? Like, it's a pioneer, yeah?
Right on the heels, right after 9. This is 1 year after Final Fantasy 9 came out.
Right.
PlayStation 2, mind-blowing. I remember playing this game. I was lucky enough to have a PlayStation 2 early on. One of the first games I played on PS2 was Final Fantasy 10, and
that was fucking dude.
Yeah.
Remember that shit?
Yeah.
Him fuck the opening scene. Oh my god!
And like it looked like, talk about cutscenes that looked like real life. You know what I mean? It was
the
like,
water drops
what
on his
the-
face while he's waiting for the Blitz match, and the hard rock soundtrack. When did we see heavy
and
metal guitars like that in Final Fantasy?
The combat.
I brought my
of
PS2
like
over to my friend's house to show him that cutscene.
Yeah.
Dude, you got to see this.
Yeah.
I hauled my VCR over here,
Yeah.
my PS2.
No, this is definitely the era, and I'm glad that we all had that experience. This is when my best friend in middle school, high school lived like down the street from me, and like every weekend I would carry my 10-inch CRT and my PlayStation 2, and we'd playing Final Fantasy 10, playing Final Fantasy 11. We would this is just that era of like you're going to your friend's house and like this is crazy. You're gaming hardcore, and like this was quite a crazy game to like kick off the PS2 era.
The PS2 graphics look better than they've remastered this game, and I actually think the PS2 graphics have more character and charm than what they've like cleaned it up, and it actually looks better on PS2. PS2 like nailed it.
Like there's so many things in this game that are fantastic. The sphere grid system has like such a cool customization where like you do have these kind of class-based characters, but you can then arc them off into other specializations.
Very PoE before PoE.
Yeah. And there's just so many really good aspects.
Like the other good aspect, if we're talking about systems, you could swap party members mid-battle. That was fucking insane.
Yeah.
Look, 10's going to fall into this category where 10 up to this point is it's like the rebirth. It's the most polished version of Final Fantasy, and thus I think beats all the previous iterations. However, here's what brings it down. Because we can talk about 10 forever. 10's so impactful. It has so many good things going for it. 10's story is okay. It's a B+, maybe an A, story-wise. Systems-wise, everything else like that, I think it's an S game, maybe. However, my personal favorites, this is where it gets skewed because these are flavors of ice cream. 10 I put as my 9th favorite, so I rank it below 9, but behind 6, I put 10. So I would probably put 10 up an S just because of what it is. Again, it's like 7. It's a pioneer, PS2 era. If you were to play if you were asking me, Monster, what turn-based Final Fantasy should I play? I would tell you play Final Fantasy 10. That's the one. If you've never played a game, I'd say you want a turn-based, play 10. This is the one that should introduce you to the series because the story is fine. The character, I mean, the story was good enough to make spin-offs, right? They love these characters so much. Titus not being his name, it being Titus, is kind of a mind blow for me in the future. But because as a kid, I called him Titus because of the water.
Yeah.
But he's Titus because of the sun.
Do they never say his name, which is kind of crazy?
They don't say his name because up to 10, you could still name your character.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not to 10. Maybe I think till 12, you could still name your character. So they didn't say the main character's name. But it makes sense in the Japanese version. Tita means the sun, and Yuna means the moon in a certain accent. So the sun and moon, that makes sense. The story's a little convoluted. It's like one of those like Kingdom Hearts style stories, but so's the story of 8. So's definitely the story of fucking 7. And so here's the thing. If you don't like 13 and you like 10, you're wrong, I think. Because Final Fantasy 13 is Final Fantasy 10 for Gen Z. That's what I truly believe. Final Fantasy 10 is extremely linear. It's all corridors. It just the game was so good we didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And that's why I point out when we get to 13, it's okay to be linear.
Yeah, and I think I don't know, there are a lot of great aspects of the game. I think I do like a lot of the story in terms of like going from 9, which is like this return to this kind of fantasy setting, but then they give you like this like in universe, like, oh, there's a futuristic world, and then you're pulled out of this universe into this other one, and you don't understand why quite yet, and all this other stuff, and then you've got like the machina and all this, I don't know, it has like a good balance of this like of all the things that people liked about the previous titles. And I do think that 10 also, like, there's a lot of memes from 10, the Titus and Yuna laughing scene. And I remember as a kid, like watching the laughing scene. Yeah, that exactly. And being like, oh man, like that's so awkward. Why is that so poorly performed? And then like as an adult, it hits so much different because you're like, oh shit, they are faking it. Because they have to, you know what I mean?
Because they're on an impossible mission.
Yeah.
Look, I see people in chat saying I'm rage baiting. 10 has a good story. Guys, we're comparing the top of the top here. 10 does have a good story. 10 is ranked number 9 of my all-time. I'm 34 of my list. What percentage is that? It's a top story for me. There are stories that are better than it though. Like I personally, I think Final Fantasy 11's story is better than Final Fantasy 10's. Only because Final Fantasy 10 veers into this. You have to go look a bunch of shit up on it because was it a dream? Was he a summoned Aeon? And like, what was a real Xanarkin? What was Dream Xanarkin? There's a bunch of that shit that like, it gets better when you like watch lore videos and shit on it. It's like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. But I think as a base game, there are, in my opinion, 8 games that have better stories than 10, but there are fucking 11 through 34 that have worse. So Final Fantasy 10 has a fine story, guys. We're comparing apples to oranges here. I think it's either an S or a very high A. And I'll give you the Metacritic for it real fast too. Metacritic says Final Fantasy X gets a 92, which is exactly what 6, 7, 8 got.
Wow.
I would largely agree with what you said. I think mechanically 10 is possibly my favorite. I love the sphere grid. I love the conditional turn-based. I really enjoy the way that they do weapons in that game and that you can switch them mid-battle. I think the end game is fantastic. All of the like monster hunting and stuff that you can do in that. I also agree that the story probably isn't as good as some of the others, but it's still okay.
Right.
And it's a genuinely good effort for a first in voice acting for the series. Consider the time. This is what, 2001?
Yeah. The turn of the millennium. Like this is cutting edge technology. This is next gen experience
in 2001.
Yeah, exactly.
There were a few examples where it was genuinely good, and I don't think they did a bad job. Yes, John DiMaggio and stuff, but come on, like,
hey, brother, I'm super racist in this game, but people still love me.
it had its faults, but I still think it's a fantastic game. For me, it's on par with 8.
Yeah.
On par with 8, yeah. I mean, I think that, and there's like, again, like I went from 7 to 10, 7 was the game I played through the PS1 era. 10 was my return to Final Fantasy. I played a bunch of JRPGs in between. I did put a lot of time playing Legend of Dragoon and stuff like that, which we can put a S tier on this tier list as well. But Final Fantasy 10 was like this return, and like I remember doing all the side stuff, like just pouring into the game, getting Yojimbo, getting
dodging lightning strikes, dodging
lightning strikes. Yeah.
Doing blitzball.
Exactly.
You could get the Jex kick, the Jex shot, and stuff like that.
Yeah, getting Jex shot and doing the Chocobo race and all this other, there's so much stuff. And I poured so much time into this game.
The world felt so alive, and it was all hallways.
The cast was also super, like you said, they had faults, which is kind of cool. And
we also had classes. Kimahri was a blue mage. Riku was a chemist.
They also had cool combo classes. It was like a thief chemist, a blue mage dragoon.
Samurai warrior. Yeah.
Right. And so I don't know. I think this is a really good game. I mean, are we putting this an S? Is this an S?
Guys,
is this an A?
I think you amend the top row. I think you put 6 because of the rating. I think you put 6, 7, 8, and 10. I think you put 10 after 6 or before 6. But I think you put 8, 7, and 10 on the same row, because I truly think they're.
You think 8 needs to go up?
I do. Because again, if we're comparing, they are the same in caliber that I would recommend to people, I guess. But 10 is higher for sure.
Yeah.
Just because I'm looking at the A row right now, and it's just I think I would recommend.
So where does 10? We have
10 goes behind 9. 10 goes behind 9, but
7
in
8.
front of 6, I think.
So it's second best game in our
It's better than 6 in my opinion. Well, I mean, I have it rated higher than. No, wait. Do I? I think I do. No. Actually, I have 6 rated higher than 10 by 1 spot. Personally, but my personal opinion doesn't matter.
Can't stomach putting this in front of 7. I think that he wants it back here.
What? Come on, Sarah. It's not better than 7. Or sorry, it's not worse than 7.
We're talking about midpoints of S tier, man. I've got to have my bones to pick. The story didn't.
If Sarah, if I allow this, we'll be wrong. That's the only thing. Look, here's the thing. 7 is iconic, but dude, the story of 7 is so convoluted compared to 10. It's worse than 10's convolution system. It's like at least 10 you can go through. We're like Cloud, why are you in a wheelchair? Why are you talking to what's happening here? You don't know what the hell's going on.
I personally I put 10 above 7 personally, but yeah, I mean, I think this is.
If we give Sarah this, there's only one game on here that I am pulling out a golden buzzer for, and it's not 16. It's not 16. Don't worry.
Oh, okay.
It's not 16 because again, I promise I'd be a realist. I'm a realist. There's one game though that I think deserves it. It's fine. I'm fine putting it wherever as long as it's on the top row.
Okay, what if? Hold on, I have an idea. I have a compromise, and this is where my
10 does have a great philosophical side to it, but 9 has a better philosophical side to it, I think. It's just we're comparing greats to greats here. But as a game, a video game, I think 10's a better video game. Like I said, 10 is the culmination of everything that we had, the polish of the time. It's a fantastic game.
I think going back to your sort of convoluted story point, 8 probably has the most convoluted story of the ones in S tier.
Does it though? Because I can explain 8 pretty easily. People that are confused about it, it's like the stuff that they're confused about, I can be like, oh no, it's this.
I'm not saying it's confusing, but just that. Oh no, I can't discuss it, can I?
I haven't seen it yet.
The
soon
forgetful nature of some of the characters,
but that's explained easily because using Guardian Forces, it side effects memory loss. That's part of it. It's like it's a Deus Ex Machina device or whatever, but it is a part of it. It's explained specifically that junctioning and using Guardian Forces, the users have reported memory loss. And that's why they can't remember.
It's explained. It's in the story, but I don't think that's a good plot point. And I agree that 8.
Yeah, that's very soap opera-y, right? Where it's just like amnesia.
Yeah.
yeah. I can agree with that.
I was talking to some folks recently, and so much of the Final Fantasy series features an amnesia plot point.
Yeah.
And I think 8 probably does it the most jarringly of a number of them. So just in terms of like having 10 or 7 having a convoluted story, and 8, I think it's apples and oranges.
So we're gonna have to do this at some point anyway. So would this help you in any way if I just put these on top of each other and they're not above or behind, or
well, one's
right
obviously above though. Look, it's fine. Again, I'm willing to. There's concessions. There's concessions here. I'm willing to concede. Yeah. Fine, I'm conceding. Just remember that I conceded, though.
Just remember.
I'm honestly jazzed that 8 made it up to Wes, so we can carry on.
All right. We're going to run out of room anyway.
Let's do 10-2 real fast. Let's do 10-2.
10-2.
10-2. Who has played this game?
I have played some of this game.
I have never. I remember one of my friends in high school was obsessed with 10-2, and I never understood it.
Okay, that's 13-2 that you have queued up. That's not 10-2.
Oh yeah. You're right.
10-2 has the three girls.
I got the wrong one. It's in here somewhere.
I don't see her. I don't see him. Here, I'll explain 10-2 real fast. Okay. Here's the thing. Here's why 10-2 is even being brought up, guys. 10-2 has the best turn-based battle system of the Final Fantasy series. And I'm not joking. It is a better system than 10's. It is a refinement and an update. The Dress Sphere system is incredible. You can job swap mid-fight. That's incredible. It's tempo, it's fun. The story is garbo. The story is some Temu worse than Advent Children shit. You wish you didn't watch it. You wish that they didn't ruin some of these characters like this. Yuna being a pop star, that's a stretch. However, high fashion. Oh my god, Yuna looks snatch. Riku, snatch. Pain, snatch. Yas, queen. The Yasification of Yuna needs to be studied. The dress spheres, the designs, fantastic. It's awesome to be back in Spira, the world. Like you go on these different hunts. Brother's a fucking creep. He's always trying to fuck his cousin. That's weird. What's up with that? Why is that part of the game? Final Fantasy X-2 is the battle system is a fucking A+. The game itself, low B. Low B. And let me see what Metacritic give it, and while Sarek gives his thoughts. If he has any more thoughts.
Crisis Core?
No, sorry. So what was that?
You're gonna put this above Crisis Core?
Above Crisis Core, yes. This is way better than Crisis Core. Like, this game is actually fun. Like, the story is so stupid, but the fighting, the gameplay is actually fun. This is like one of those things where it's like they labeled it Final Fantasy, and it's like, oh, I wish they didn't damage the brand like this, but it's a fun game.
I kind of came off the back of playing like a bunch of, the PS1 and PS2 era Final Fantasies. I loved these sort of worlds they were creating, these somewhat serious and adult stories that they were crafting, and then we came around to 10-2, and we've got a pop star playing around with dress spheres, and that just didn't really vibe for me. I got about halfway through the game, and I just felt like I was being messed around with. There's some very obvious fan service in this game as well.
Yeah. Although one thing that I always like so I had a friend again, like he was obsessed with this game. And it was like very like, this is high school era where like, you're like, wait, this is the game that you can't stop talking about. Okay. And like, dress spheres and all this other stuff.
Dude, the music was good too. What can I do for you? It was like, oh fuck, what is this in Final Fantasy? But look, 85 on Metacritic. Let me tell you that's equal to Final Fantasy IV on Metacritic is what people are giving 10-2.
But like,
equal to 4, you say?
Yeah, equal to 4. 85. 4 also got a 85 on Metacritic.
But it's like, the one thing that like really stood out to me that was like, oh wait, really cool. That sounds awesome. Is like some of the class system stuff. Seemed really interesting in 10-2, but
there's some unique ones too. Like Mascot is not been in any other Final Fantasy. The Gun Mage was fucking cool. They want to bring Gun Mage to 14 because of how cool Gun Mage was in this game. Yo, welcome Raiders, and it's a Volo. Hey, welcome in.
So again, we're back on the low trend. So like chat is voting this BC as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I think this becomes a question of like where, you know, is it better than Crisis Core? Is it better than 1? Is it better than 2?
Dude, I think it's a B. I think the haters of this game hate it because they don't understand it. It's not supposed to be like this was a money grab.
Well, yeah,
and this was a money grab, but the battle system was fucking amazing.
This is, you have to imagine, like this is what redeems this game for me, is like having worked, and you know, because at one point I did work in like in the game development kind of like industry, and like I can see how this game was created. 10 was super successful. You have these like awesome female protagonists that are part of it, and like they were like, okay, yo, what else is really big? J-pop, K-pop, pop stars, let's do it. And like there's this boardroom where they're like, we're gonna make money, and then these game devs were like, well shit, we've got to make a good game. And they did, you know what I mean? Like they took a terrible boardroom idea and they spun it into something that actually like had some really great qualities. And I don't know, I think that's good. And like yes, it's not the seriousness or like the drama perhaps of 10. It's not the super emotional vibes that you get with some of the other games, but like, you know, it's a different, it's a different take, and it's an expansion of a universe that you didn't get otherwise. I don't know.
I would tell you to play this over Final Fantasy. I almost would tell you to play this over Final Fantasy 5, but I'd probably put it after Final Fantasy 5, but before 3.
I think you put such a high weighting on fashion that I'm not sure I can trust your opinion.
But the fashion, like, go back to like I'm talking about fashion and all. Like when I say fashion, I'm not just being facetious. I mean, like, think about Cloud's like half crop top leather jacket with the fur. You know what I mean? Like that's high fashion in my opinion. Think about fucking maybe not Tifa. Tifa's like the Gooner stuff that I don't care for. But it's like some of the outfits are super Gooner in this game. But in my opinion, it's just like Riku looks cool as hell, Pain looks fucking cool as hell, and Yuna looks cool as hell. And they have, you know what I mean? They can swap costumes for every job. They're all unique. It's amazing.
I forgot to mention, speaking of the something you said reminded me of this. 7 was like, you know, a game I was playing in early middle school and like late in elementary school, going into early, and like I remember as I was starting the game and introduced these characters, I was like, oh, I can name them. And I like named them after my friends. So like the girls in my friends group, and had no idea that the same like romantic tensions between dating these different characters was about to pop up in my middle school life. And it became awkward near the end, but
you know what? I've always been friends with people who rename characters. When I'm playing these games, I've never renamed a character. I always kept it as their main name. And I don't know why. That's just been like a quirk about mine. For me, like anytime I saw someone's Pokemon save and they named their like Pikachu Roger all caps, I'm like, you've ruined this save file. Like I don't. That's so unaesthetic to see Roger the Pikachu.
Pikachu's named Dick Butt or something.
Yeah, like something like that. I hate that. Or like in MMOs when someone's like XX Sephiroth XX, like that's like,
no,
it's
I
like,
mean,
ugh.
so 7. So I learned my lesson in 7. From 7 on, I never named I let them. I respect the creators' naming conventions and the narrative and the story. And then when I do it on stream, I let chat decide. And
then that's fair. That's totally fair. It's a replay and it's fun for chat. That makes sense. I totally get that.
Yeah, I agree with you. You got to stick with the default names for your first play at least.
Yeah.
All right. So we're putting this B in between the two other options. I'll put it low B for now. How's that?
Real quick, yeah, that's fine. Let's do Crystal Chronicles because this is a GameCube era, so around maybe the same-ish time. Let me tell you about this game. Have either of you played Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles?
I have not played Crystal Chronicles as far as I can.
And you can't even picture what this game looks like, probably.
I've seen the cover. That's about as far as I go.
Chibi art style, similar to 9. I thought it was kind of charming at the time. This game was on the GameCube. Its notable feature was you could use like your Game Boy SP and connect it to your GameCube, and you could control your characters. This game was so cool in that like you could have like 4 crystal bearers. This game's mechanic required there's like a miasma around, and the only way to survive it is someone has to hold a crystal, like be a crystal bearer, and the crystal like creates a dome, and so you can adventure in the areas. So one of your teammates has to hold the crystal while the others get to adventure and like fight and stuff.
Oh, nice.
And it was kind of cool because like you'd have people come over and they'd have to have like their Game Boy and stuff like that. It was very innovative, right? However, the story was meh. Had really cool races. These races were as interesting, I think, as like Final Fantasy XI's races. There's like the Claire and like some other strange races and stuff. I think the multiplayer's novel, and they made a spin-off game. It was successful enough to make a spin-off. However, I think this is C-, maybe D. They re-released this recently. You can get it on Steam, I think, and you can play multiplayer. Is it worth playing though? I don't think it's worth playing. So I would give it probably a D. Let me see where I put it on Notorious Monsters personal playlist. Monsters personal playlist. I put this 31 out of 34. So it's above Dirge of Cerberus, but not by much.
Oh, wow. That was a lot of like praise and then like, oh, it kind of sucks.
No, the multiplayer is interesting. I'm just setting this up like, hey, like this is the game that they made, right? This is the systems and stuff they had in mind, and this is how it panned out. It's just a lot of like, you got to have friends and you got to have Game Boys and shit like to play this game.
Very like like they wanted the whole family to invest in Game Boys and the GameCube, so they're all buying in the infrastructure. It's a console seller.
But the thing, it worked when when you plugged it in and shit. Like somebody in chat said, there's a mini map, and it was kind of fun to play with friends. And it's a Final Fantasy multiplayer game. Like, where else is there? You can't get that experience, right? So, Crystal Chronicles D.
D better than Dirge of Cerberus.
Better than Dirge.
Mid range, high D.
Mid D. Yeah.
Okay.
Is there anything else? Oh, we need to talk about a game that was PS1 era as well. And this game is Final Fantasy Tactics.
Do you want to save Tactics to talk about with 12?
Sure, we could do that. Let's do 11 first then.
Yeah, sure.
We should do, okay, if we're going to do that, then we should do Tactics and then the Advanced series and then 12, probably.
Yeah.
We don't have Revenant Wings on here, which is fine.
Final Fantasy 11. Final Fantasy 11. This is a game that I think that a lot of chat is.
I wanted to save 11 for last because I didn't want people to leave after we did this one.
Yeah. Maybe we shouldn't have. Maybe we should have saved the MMOs, but it's too late now. Look, I think that 11. Look, I have 11 open on my computer right now. I've played 11 for 20 something years. I know that Monsters played a lot of 11. I know a lot of people in chat have played 11. I will say, I think that like, yes, like in terms of it being a game and like amount of time played, how much I personally like it and how much I enjoy it. This is, to me, this is an S tier game because just like I said before, I will continue to repeatedly play this game for eternity because
this is number one.
You know,
if you on your,
this is great. But I think that if I have to take in like would I ever like, I keep thinking about this through the lens of Scoopy, right? Because we were talking about earlier, like we were doing pizza time and stuff. Scoopy's never played a Final Fantasy game, and like, what if I were going through all these games? Final Fantasy 11 would be relatively low on the list of the games that I would recommend she play. You know what I mean? Like somebody that's not a fan of the series, somebody that doesn't know Final Fantasy, somebody that doesn't play MMOs and stuff like that. There's a lot of qualifiers in there. And I think that like, I am so excited. I think a lot of Final Fantasy 11 players are so excited when somebody's interested in this game, but like I could never force it on somebody. You know what I mean? I could never like say you have to play this game because it is like there's a lot of acquired taste to it.
Real quick, so something that's going to come up when we talk about 14, the difference between 11 and 14 right now, just to preface this, at the time, if we were to do this tier list at the time of 11, like at the height, even at the Seekers of Adeline expansion, I would recommend this game still to people. Like,
yeah, that's true.
If I had to go to an uninitiated player and say, here's a game to play, here's an MMO, specifically the MMOs between 11 and 12, I would, and I had to pick, gun to my head, I would pick 14, excuse me, not 12, 11 and 14. I would pick 14 because it's the most modern, most polished iteration that is currently being worked on by a full team now, right? Like you just can't get that experience in 11 right now. However, at the time, 11 became my #1 favorite game of all time out of Final Fantasies. Regardless of systems, regardless of everything about 11, it was made for me. The leveling, the class system, the sub jobs, the lore, the goddamn story. I've told you this before. The goddamn story of Final Fantasy 11. When I got to the dragon mission with the airmen, heralding the Shadow Lord coming, I was like 11 years old. My hands were shaking at the keyboard. I didn't want to fuck up this fight. There's this dragon on my screen. I had to find these high-level adventurers to take me to this dungeon.
And there's a dragon on your screen and a floating eyeball demon, and like you'd been fighting worms in the ground.
Right, and I never had to I had to travel far and wide manually.
And if you died, it was an adventure to get back. I think that there's a lot of stuff about 11 that is maybe dated and all that other stuff, but like there was a vibe to playing it that felt, like there were stakes and all this other stuff. And I think that there's testament to the fact that like this game still is playable. We got an update last week. They're announcing stuff that's coming this year. You know what I mean? Like there is still development happening on this 20-plus-year-old MMORPG, and there's like maybe one other game that's consistently run the same duration. It's like this is equivalent to World of Warcraft. Sure, the player base might be different, the way they develop the games might be different, but like it's a massive game, and I think that there's a reason why it's still played and why there's so many people in chat that still watch it and play it.
11 as a package, and maybe a little personal bias, goes easily to A. I think my personal list, it would be an S, but it's the S the same way the Pixel version is the best. Like this is the best Pixel MMO version, right? Like this is your best retro. If you want an MMO, you have two choices. If you want retro MMO, this is the definitive retro MMO. If you want a modern MMO, this is not the game for you. This game is the definitive version at the time, and I think it belongs on S. My personal ranking, what I gave this game, well, let me give you what Metacritic gave this game. Metacritic gives this game 85. 85 is the same as what Final Fantasy IV got. It's the same as what Final Fantasy X-2 got. 85, so like a B. Let me see if I do have the expansions. So 85 is the base game. The Rise of Lark doesn't have a separate rating because in North America they were released together.
Released same time.
Yeah, so it's 85. Chains of Promethea has a 73 on Metacritic, not great. C. Treasures of Ott Urgen has an 83, my favorite expansion, very highly rated as well. 83 is solid B. Wings of the Goddess has a 63, and Seekers of Adeline doesn't. Let me see what Seekers of Adeline has, because Seekers of Adeline Metacritic, I don't think it has one. Generally favorable 7.6, but it doesn't have a Metacritic score. Not enough reviews. So look, guys, if we're taking our personal opinions into it, I think it's like borderline S, just because of Hegmo and I's background. However, I'm willing, as long as it's a high, strong A. My personal ranking of my personal list here was 11 goes in the 7th spot. One spot behind Final Fantasy 9, one spot ahead of Final Fantasy 6.
Wow. Yeah, I think that like Final Fantasy 11, again, like this is an MMO that still exists, and I think that one thing that stands out to me always is that it came out before World of Warcraft, and it's aside from like games that have gotten a revitalization like EverQuest or like RuneScape or something like that, but like it's a pre-WoW, like there's no hotbar, there's no mini map guiding you around,
there's no UI, there's no like modern UI, there's no like navigation, there's no they've added like some things, but that was actually part of the experience, and what I think actually raises the game, if where the context is when it came out, because when it came out that shit mattered, right? You losing experience points mattered, right? And like that felt like something. I see people talking about 75 era. That's like, that was the height, right? Like it felt like the height. And I think it's still a good game. But man, that was the hype. That was when those were the best episodes of the series. I think was around those times.
I mean, I think just because of my channel bias, I would be happy to put in an S. Sarek, do you have any thoughts? I know that you haven't played this one,
to kind of play devil's advocate on this, I have a lot of baggage attached to 11 in terms of like, I'd seen what they've been doing with this series so far, and I was loving every iteration. And suddenly we don't get to see what could have been iterated on from 10. We get an MMO, and this is at a time when I was really into MMOs, but I couldn't afford to buy the game and pay £9 a month as it was over here to play it.
Well, you have to buy the game, you have to buy a hard drive and a network adapter, unless you're playing it on PC, which the PlayStation 2 came first, but like then the PC version shortly afterwards, and like then you have a subscription. It was very different.
So I have a bit of some checkered feelings about this, where it's like you've taken a primarily single player series and then made it into an MMO. In the same way that Final Fantasy Tactics can be a fantastic game, I'm sure this one can as well. I've not played it myself, so I just have a little bit of a grudge against it for dividing that fandom at that point in time and having to wait for another 2 years until 12 came out, something like that.
Indeed, yeah. How long was it between? So 10 came out 10 came out in 2001. 11 originally released in 2002, though it was like Japan and then North America, so it was a little staggered. I think 2000 later in North America, but and then 12 was not for another 4 years, so 2006 for 12. So it was quite a while. So if you were a Final Fantasy fan and you had played 10 and you enjoyed it, sure, you got 10 too. You got a few other spin-offs in the meantime, but it was the longest wait for another Final Fantasy game that we'd had since the beginning. Like never had there been a 5-year gap.
I think on paper, objectively, looking at like all the information available to me, I think Final Fantasy 11 probably sits on the B tier. However, because Hegmo and I have played so many years, we know like where all the nuggets of diamonds are, right? Where it's just like there's some like content in the game that it's just like you will never get to unless you're max level or these ultimate weapons and stuff like that. But that for us MMO heads is like that's the good part. Like I love that shit, and so that kind of skews it a little bit.
Chat, this is your chance. I put the poll up. Chat. Let's see. This is your time to have your voice heard.
Yeah.
And if we break records on this one, then maybe we can sway the public opinion. But I'm
gonna grab a water bottle real quick while they're voting. Heg, be right back.
People are already putting D's in.
Incredible.
That's all got to be Old Timer and his his mule account. But yeah, I get that 11 was divisive. It's the first online game. It's definitely like one that a lot of people didn't play. It's both 11 and 14 are often not considered official, mainline Final Fantasy games because they are online. So much experience. I mean, if you think about like the cost of Final Fantasy 11, sure, you can buy it relatively cheap now, but for somebody playing through it, not only are you paying for the subscription, but all these expansions that are coming out, they're another purchase. The whole game, if you bought it as it was present, is hundreds of dollars. You know what I mean?
And how it was delivered for me, it was like, 7, delicious. I enjoyed that. 8, 9, 10, wonderful. Bring more courses, please. 11, oh no, this may as well be on like the Philips CDI or something with how unreachable this is for me. Yeah, and then you'd have to wait. What did you say? It was 4 years until the next game.
5 years. It was 2001.
5 years.
2001 was when 10 came out, and then 2006 for 12.
So if you're in that world, I have no doubt that was a fantastic period for you, and something that you would, you can sink thousands of hours in. But for someone who was all in the single player turn-based camp, and saw what fun things they were doing with 10 and really enjoyed those, to not get a follow-up to that in the end at all was kind of sucked.
Oh, well, if you're a fan of the series and at the time, you wouldn't be very happy when the next one comes out because everyone was fucking losing their goddamn minds when 12 comes out.
Yeah. So chat voted overwhelmingly the most votes we've had for an S tier, 11 votes in S tier. And my channel bias gets to put this wherever I want because I control the list. It's going at the bottom of S, but we will take your concern into consideration. I, as the Final Fantasy XI content creator, get to put this in S, at least temporarily, and maybe you can fight me about it later. All right. Final Fantasy.
The only reason I don't want to put it in S is because like I don't want to hurt the credibility of everything else we've done because we've done a really good job actually. And I can't in good faith say that Final Fantasy XI is an S tier game.
I mean it is. You're wrong.
I think it's look, here's the thing. I think it's guys, Final Fantasy XI, I've played 5 years less than Hegmo probably. I have not been playing since like 2016 really. I've like off and on I've been coming back, so like I have like 5 years less playtime than Hegmo. I love this game. But is it a better game than these other things?
Fine. Top of S.
Like I'm just worried somebody's gonna see this published list and immediately I think it actually, guys, listen to me real quick because I'm an MMO enthusiast. I think it actually hurts. I think it hurts our discoverability and marketability for 11 and 14. But actually, I think 14 is ranked higher than 11.
I will just for the sake of the public perceptions, I'll move it down to an A+. How about that? There's my compromise. Final Fantasy 11 fans.
I'm just saying when people see that Final Fantasy 11 is in front of Rebirth and Remake, guys, there are going to be questions.
Take a screenshot of this really quick here. 1 second.
I'm just saying, go ahead. You want to get audited? This is how you get audited.
Screenshot it. Screenshot that now. That's what we truly believe, but we're just trying to protect ourselves from the ire of the normies that are out there.
Guys, in its heyday, I would say the same. I think in its heyday, I would rate it an S. But the other thing too is like I didn't know how poorly rated the expansions were. I was shocked actually. Like Ott Ergen being an 85 is like okay, but like the other ones being so low is actually shocking to me. But I have gone back and played, and I do hate going through the story past the Shadow Lord. It's like not as good.
I mean, just because it takes so long. It's so brutal. Okay, I'll put. How about it's higher than 4, below Remake? Can we put it here?
Here's the thing, but we let Sarek have 7 up there, so I almost want to say let Hegmo, like everyone gets one, because I don't think 7.
Well, yeah.
Head, go put it back. I'll feel bad if you don't put it there. Just put it back where you want it.
Okay. We're gonna put it back. We'll put
you
a little.
Put it back in 7, but you have to put a mustache on it.
I was gonna say.
I was gonna say
like we need like a little a symbol or something that means this is our like
our personal
personal pick, like our bias pick.
This is our like trial by combat. This is the champion we pick.
I think it's coercion when you're suggesting that a 70-something Metacritic game can be in S.
Well, look, I mean, the critics are often wrong, and they just don't understand. Are we talking about tactics? Before we flip-flop again,
we need to start with tactics, because tactics comes first chronologically, right? Tactics does come first chronologically. Tactics here, I'm just going to come out and say it, right, guys? Tactics. This is an S tier game. However, I probably am not going to be allowed to have it as an S tier game. Tactics is, if you don't consider Tactics a mainline series, I think you need to reconsider. I think this is a beautiful game. I think it's so mature. I think the story is fantastic. Political intrigue. If you like Game of Thrones, if you like, it's a very mature entry. It was like nothing I've ever played before it. It is the definitive, in my opinion, the definitive tactical RPG. It was so fucking good. Like if anyone asks me what tactics game should I play, I say start with Final Fantasy Tactics. Especially now that they have the remaster. There's no, hands down, play Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster. If you like Final Fantasy, which has stories, chocobos, intrigue, this is so medieval. It's very like it's like very low fantasy, if that makes sense. There's a lot of like, there's still like summons and shit like that, but like there are people like shitting and fucking like orphans dying and fucking you know, people having their families killed and shit like that. It's like Game of Thrones intrigue level. there's heretics and churches and all this kind of stuff. It was also, I found out recently, the story's inspired by Hellraiser and the puzzle boxes, because these stones appear and these stones like whisper and they give the exact power that you want, that you're like coveting to you. And so like that's like the fantasy aspect of it. It's very, very, very good. One of the best job systems, class systems there are of all time. If not an A+, it's definitely an S, I think. Let me give you the Metacritic rating real fast. Metacritic gives Final Fantasy Tactics an 83, so a B. I personally give Final Fantasy Tactics my third spot of my third all-time favorite Final Fantasy.
Yeah, Sarah, do you want to jump in? You always go last, but please.
No, go ahead. I've not played this one. I know it's spoken very highly.
Yeah.
It is some people who have a lot to say about Final Fantasy. This is their absolute favorite, their top spot. I'm looking forward to giving it a go, and I've watched quite a bit of it. It looks great.
Yeah.
I don't know if tactics games are for me, but that's about all I've got to say on it. You guys discuss away.
Okay, so someone asked in chat about the Metacritic. So that I'm giving you guys the PS1. The remaster that just came out last year has an 88, so higher than the original.
Wow. So Tactics is one of those games that, like, I remember I played it on and off, like on PlayStation 1 when it came out. I still have my copy of Tactics somewhere. But like only like my friend was playing it, and like, I would like watch him do some battles, or I would jump in and do like the intro or like a few battles here and there. And like I thought it was like, because this is the era where I was like playing a lot of StarCraft and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, it's just like an RTS version, or you know what I mean, like it's a tactical Final Fantasy game. And like it wasn't until years later that I was like, wait, there's a story, and somebody was like, yeah, it's like it's based in Ivalice. It's like the same like universe, the same story as, different era, but like it's Final Fantasy 12. And I was like, it's Final Fantasy 12, like, and like I was like, holy crap, this is my favorite. I love the Final Fantasy 12 setting. And yeah, I mean, it's I don't know, it's definitely like up there in like, this is maybe, I don't know the full history of like all the side projects and side games that they did. I know there's like Chocobo Racing.
This is a guy called Matsuno. That's the guy behind this one.
But like Tactics was like really, at least for me, one of the first like full divergence from the way that they were,
like a true
presenting
spin-off.
Final Fantasy. Like it's like a spin-off into not just like an evolution of gameplay, 2D to 3D, like, turn-based to ATB. This is like a totally different genre.
What you might not notice also is like the people on this team worked on a game called Tactics Ogre. And they also worked on a game called Vagrant Saga, or Vagrant Story. And so that game is also connected to all this stuff. So they had like their own internal team lore, and they were building it out, but it fit nicely with the Final Fantasy universe. And that's why we get like Tactics Advance and stuff in the future. But this game has one of my favorite quotes of all time. And the knight says, "Tough. Don't blame us. Blame yourself or God." I fucking love that quote. Blame yourself or God. So good. Final Fantasy Tactics is fantastic. It's a high A for me, at least.
High A, okay.
High A.
I mean, yeah, I think it deserves to be
3,
up there.
But
I would say high A, like, is this better than? I would put it above 4 personally. Where do you put it in relation to the remakes and rebirths?
Those games are better, so behind that. But my personal tier list is Tactics is my third favorite, so it would be S for me personally.
Put up a poll. We'll do a quick one. Tactics. And then so now this is where I get into uncharted territory. How do the other Tactics games how do the other Tactics games like play in?
So here's Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. Comes out on the Game Boy Advance. I play the shit out of this game as a kid. I love this game. My favorite game on the Game Boy is Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. It's so cool. It is similar to Tactics in systems-wise. Nothing similar in tone or art style or anything like that. This takes place in Ivalice in a different time zone where In Tactics, we don't see any of like the beast races like the Bonga or anything like that you see in 12. In Tactics, though, you do. You see all of the like 12 stuff that you see. So Moogles, Mont Blanc, yeah, he's the best. Like it's so fucking good. And it refines some of the systems of Tactics, so it plays similar to Tactics. You go to the inns, you go to get the rumors, you go on missions. There's tons and tons and tons of jobs. Jobs unlock when you get certain abilities in certain slots and stuff. You can recruit people. People can die permanently. Actually, maybe not permanent death in this one, but in Tactics. But Advance is great. However, it is very childlike. The story is, it's an elementary school. There's this boy who gets bullied a lot. He finds this book, this grimoire, and one day you wake up the next day and you're in the world of Ivalice. And there are these guys called judges, and the whole battle system is based on these judges. It's very cool. The sprite works great. If you're looking for a Game Boy game, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance is fantastic. Go pick it up. It's great. Final Fantasy Tactics, I think, is a solid for a Game Boy Advance game. It's either, I think it might be in front of Final Fantasy V or behind. Let me see. Here's what I personally rated, right? It's not that important to the series, though, where it's like, if you skip this one, you know, if you like Ivalice, you should check this one out. Personally, I gave Tactics Advance number 14 on my slot, 14th favorite of all time, behind Final Fantasy IV. And behind Rebirth and Remake.
So like a low A?
Yeah, low A, high B. Tactics Advance 2.
Crowded up.
Tactics Advance 2 is a little bit more the same. It was a sequel, refined the systems. Let me give you the Metacritic for both of these spin-offs real fast. Let's see here, spin-offs. Tactics Advance got an 87 on Metacritic, which is higher than original Tactics. And then A2 got an 80. So I put A2 after the first one. Probably, if we're putting Tactics Advance there, I'd put it after Final Fantasy V, probably. It was good, but it wasn't as good as the first one. A2 is the one with the judge symbol, and it has an A2.
Yeah.
To the right. That one, yeah.
This one right here, yeah.
Yep.
So like, you know, in this slot right here.
Yeah. Looks good. Okay, we're moving on from Ivalice. There's two more games in Ivalice. We're not going to rate one of them. We're not going to rate Revenant Wings. If I would to put Revenant Wings on here, Revenant Wings is like a C or a B. Not as fun as Tactics Advance, also on the Game Boy Advance. We go to Final Fantasy 12. Sarek, have you played Final Fantasy 12?
I have, and this is where I departed the series.
Oh, tell us more.
So, I like the setting, and I there's a lot of new things coming into this, which are obviously inspired from sort of MMO-style mechanics. And I was having a good time, learning who the characters were, and as soon as I got into a battle, I couldn't deal with the new system. Where's my turn-based? Where's it gone?
And this is on launch, right? This is original PS2 non-Zodiac, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, call me a curmudgeon, but this was quite jarring for me. I'd not played Final Fantasy in so many years. I'd been eagerly awaiting this new release that I'd been reading about, hearing through, tales through magazines and friends, and I got something that was so different that little child Sarek was not too happy.
Well, I mean, I can imagine too. Like you're talking about, like, playing Final Fantasy X, wanting more, and you were turned off by 11, you couldn't play the online game. And then like 5 years goes by, you finally get Final Fantasy 12, and it's not what you thought. Like, it's not a continuation of what you played with 10. And I think where my experience is colored is that I did play 11 and I loved 11, and so many people equate 12 to be like, 12 is they took everything that they learned from 11 and made it into a single player game with automation of your party. So you're still, it's like it becomes the offline 11. And I think that, like, to people like me, maybe Notorious Monster, like, we were like, oh, hell yeah, this is amazing. But
I wish I had this in 11. This is like 11 too, right? Like, it really was.
So many people that weren't like in that ecosystem were like, wait a second, where's my turn base?
It's the same discourse that happens, in my opinion, when like Final Fantasy VII comes out with the action system and people are like, what the fuck is this? Like, this isn't Final Fantasy. Like, I think it's a little bit of that kind of reaction. However, the original base game had its issues. It does have its issues. As I remember it, this is old lore, so I don't know if I'm recalling this correctly. Comments can correct me. the original story writer for this game got sick midway through, and so halfway through the story, another person took over, and the story feels a little bit disjointed. Final Fantasy 12 is Star Wars in Final Fantasy. That's the storyline.
Yeah.
It's literally, it's told from a perspective some people don't like. Vaughn and Penelo, who are basically bystanders. They aren't these like heroes, and everything that's learned about the main party is done passively, as it's happening to it's happening to them, but you're witnessing it. It's very interesting. Battle system's amazing. We're gonna talk about this as the refined version, not as the original version, because the Zodiac international version is the definitive version of this game. Fixes a lot of the problems of the original. Adds a class system. Final Fantasy 12. Overall, strong A. I think Final Fantasy 12 for me personally on my list. Well, let me give you the Metacritic, the unbiased or the popular opinion. 12 on the Metacritic list is a 92. That is on par with 7, 6, and 8. 12 is fucking awesome. We have some amazing characters. Like the cover art has Gabranth there. I love the judges. I love the lore. I love Vana. I love the leading man, Fran. I love so much about it. My personal list, I put this one at Final Fantasy 12 is at number 5, behind Final Fantasy 8 at number 4.
I'll put the poll up as well. I personally, this is my favorite Final Fantasy game. That like, honestly, I would say that I like Final Fantasy 12 if I were to like objectively, not voting with time spent. Final Fantasy 11 I've definitely played the most, but Final Fantasy 12 is my favorite Final Fantasy game. If I could recommend a game to anybody, it'd probably be 12, but I really resonated with the systems and stuff. I think that 12 is an S tier game. In how, and like I played the original release and everything. I just always really like something about like the world felt more like, you open in this like political conflict and this war that's going on, and like it just felt more grounded in reality than other games, but still had this really crazy in-depth like fantasy universe built up around it. I really like the combat system and gambits and everything else that I think were fantastic. I don't know, 12 is and always has been my favorite, one of my most nostalgic picks, but I totally understand like the critique. I would say in my personal positioning, I put this in an S, but like in my public facing perception of it, I think that it's an A.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. Again, it's similarly to 11, this has a bit of a sore spot for me. Arguably responsible for turning me off for the franchise for like 10 plus years. But I'm excited to go back and play it. I bought the
Zodiac,
the edition you recommended on Steam, so I'm really excited to go back and revisit this and see why so many people love this. I'm happy for you to stick that in A if you want.
I think you can put it in like A, and if you want to put it above Tactics, probably fit there. I think it was Metacritic was higher.
Yeah. I think that like, I don't know, I think that it strikes such a crazy balance between like increasingly as we go down the list from here forward, like 13, 14, 15, 16, like we lose the thread on the turn-based, like the turn-based is leaving Final Fantasy. But like something about 12, it felt like it still was like respectful of like this party and like the different roles, and like having like, you're just controlling it in a different way. Instead of like going through and doing menus for each individual thing, like you were telling them the script to follow. I don't know. I thought it was great. I love it, but yeah, I can totally see how like as a long-term turn-based fan of the previous games, you're like, this is going a direction that you're Padme. You're like, I can't follow.
Well, that's why like
this direction you're going.
If someone asked me, I want to play a turn-based, like what's the best turn-based Final Fantasy to play? I would say 10, right?
Yeah.
But then after that, if like what other Final Fantasy like should I play that's like between modern and retro? I would say probably 12, because 12 has the hunt system. 12 has such a. I love Ivalice. I cannot wait the Ivalice, true Ivalice expansion in 14, because it's going to be my like Bozjo was so much fun.
Yeah.
12 is fantastic, and I can't wait to see Sarah go back through it, because it's a really good game. It really is.
And there's just something about the universe that, like, I don't know, I guess it's the Star Wars vibe to it. You know what I mean? Where it's like, it's fantasy, but it also like feels very real. You know,
and it's like Middle
There's,
Eastern. It's like Turkish armor and like Byzantine style like architecture and stuff. It's very like unique. And the races that came from Final. What's funny is the races came from like Tactics Advance first before 12, I believe. And so like seeing like Nimoy and like Mughals and like Bonga and stuff in like the CG, that was cool.
Very cool.
Let's do Dissidia real fast. The first Dissidia, because that was a PSP title. That one's on the far right, I think. Yep. The first Dissidia game came out on PSP. This was a spin-off series. This was Square Enix's Super Smash Brothers. By the way, I saw a comment earlier saying, has anyone said anything about Tactics and their characters having no noses? That's actually because of one of my favorite artists in Final Fantasy. His name is Akihiko Yoshida. He has a very distinct style. You see he has like no noses usually. But Final Fantasy, all the Ivalice art is done by him. A lot of the Final Fantasy 14 art is done by him. And it's kind of like this noseless style. It's just kind of his style. But Dissidia comes along. It's a game about Cosmos and Chaos. There's all the Warriors of Light and all the Warriors of Chaos, of Darkness, and they fight. And it's a fun fucking game. Let me tell you what Metacritic gave it at the time. This is PSP. Let's see, Dissidia. Dissidia got a 79 on Metacritic. This was PSP. Let me look at my cheat sheet. When did this come out? Dissidia. Here we go. Dissidia came out in 2008. Common criticism is steep learning curve, repetitive story mode. But strengths were fan service, dream rosters, unique combat system, and a great soundtrack. That's true. All the Final Fantasy songs you got to play in one game. That was cool. This game was awesome.
I mean, in the Super Smash era, like the fighting game, like mashup from different universes, like you get to play as all these different Final Fantasy characters. I never played it because it was on PSP. I didn't have a PSP, but like seeing it, I remember seeing like the trailer and everything and being like, oh, that's crazy. You know, that like all these games are represented here. I think even 11 got a character.
Yep. Shantoto. Somehow it's always Shantoto.
Is this one you played, Sarek? Did you play any of the Dissidias?
No, not at all. I was going to say that after 12, this is probably a good point for me to bow out, as it's turned 2 a.m.
Okay,
yeah. Get some sleep.
Yeah. Thank you are there any games in the list that we haven't done that you want to make your opinion heard?
No, I think we're good. I trust you guys.
All right.
You know, as long as 11 doesn't go any higher than it currently is, then I think we're in a good spot.
Hell yeah.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's been fun to chat about this with you guys.
Thanks for staying up.
Good night, man. That was Sarek, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Sarek.
Let me give a shout out real quick to Sarek, just in case if you guys aren't following Sarek, make sure you follow Sarek, mod of the channel, great friend both of Hegamo and I's, fantastic guy. So Dissidia, I think Dissidia can go above. I think it goes behind Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, but in front of Final Fantasy V.
Oh, okay. So B tier.
Yeah.
And then how do all the rest of the Dissidias? We've got Dissidia.
Yeah, let's do all of them. So Dissidia 012 is the definitive Dissidia. This game is fucking awesome. If you want to play Dissidia, you want to play Final Fantasy versus Final Fantasy, don't play any other version but Dissidia 012. It is a prequel to Dissidia. It has a way expanded character roster. It is fucking awesome. Dissidia had multiplayer. Dude, I played so much Gabranth. I loved Gabranth in this game. Very, 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 very fun game. Dissidia 12 is easily an A. I would probably put it... Final Fantasy IV is so iconic. We can let Final Fantasy IV have it, but I put Dissidia 012 behind Final Fantasy IV probably. Let me see how I have it on my personal list. Final Fantasy, this was, I put this after Final Fantasy Tactics Advance actually on my personal list. This was number 15, Dissidia 12. Metacritic gives this one, Metacritic gave this one a 77. So a little bit worse, but this one, way expanded roster. It was so good. This is the definitive version if you want to play it. Dissidia NT, oh man, stinky pile poo-poo garbage. We can at least give it a C because it has really great graphics. I mean, it kind of has a cool, it's not cool. Actually, the system sucks. But it's not such a bad game that it's just like, oh my God, I'll never play this. I like this. This is the only time I've ever played a video game with Pete on stream is Dissidia NT.
Oh, wow.
When he was a brand new streamer.
Wow.
And
so what's the like development of these? Like Dissidia comes out.
Dissidia comes out and they just designed this one specifically for Tokyo arcades. So it was 3v3 designed to be played in an arcade cabinet, and they ported it to consoles. Nobody liked it. The 3v3 system wasn't interesting. It's kind of confusing. And the thing is like Dissidia 012 is so simple. You have a shield gauge, and then you have your HP bar. Your job is to break the shield gauge so you can get to the HP. That's simple. It's done. This had all these convoluted. It's just so stupid. And so the summoning animations are really good. The graphics are amazing. They had cool skins. This game is poo-poo garbage. Maybe put it D+. It's the first in the D tier.
D+. But it's better than Crystal Chronicles.
It's better than Crystal Chronicles.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
If anybody, we're speed rounding these because they're all kind of lumped together. If anybody has any strong objections, please just make your voice heard.
chime in. We're doing the speed rounds for some of the spin-offs. Welcome in, Sarek. Thank you for raiding in. We're gonna continue the list here. We'll take care of you people. Don't worry. Okay, so we're now on to 13, and I already saw someone yell it out. But here's the thing: if you think this about 13, then you also need to think this about 10 because it's the exact same scenario as 10. 10 is extremely linear. 10 is a hallway simulator. It was just so innovative at the time on the PS2. Everybody overlooked it. It's fine. It didn't matter. 10 was a good game. 13 has the same problem. It is linear. It is a hallway simulator, but I don't think that makes it a bad game.
Yeah.
I think this game is fun. Let me give you what Metacritic says about this game. Is this my favorite game? No. Do I replay this game? No. Will I replay it again? Yeah. I'll replay it once. I'll replay it one more time. This got an 83 on Metacritic, so a B. It had a couple spin-offs that were maybe not as fun as the originals. But Lightning, canonically, I think Lightning might be the strongest protagonist in all of Final Fantasy. Yeah. She's an interdimensional traveler. She's very cool. Very cool characters, very like sexy looking characters. Like I really like everyone's design. Snow, Lightning, Saws. We've got who else? Hope. We got what's Vanille? We got a huge cast of characters.
Yeah. Fang.
Vanille, yeah, Fang's another one. Yeah.
And this was out in 2009, so this is a PS3 game. 12.
This is like
first
PS3
game on
era.
the PS3,
right?
And honestly, I remember playing this one. I got a PS3, and this was right after Scoopy and I moved in together. And like I remember, we had a TV that I got from it was a big flat screen TV that a friend of mine worked at an electronics store, and he gave us like his employee discount. And then I had the PlayStation 3 on the floor. Both of those things on the floor, no media stand or anything. And I had a stack of pillows, and I just that we had just moved into an apartment, we had nothing. And I just played this game nonstop. And I honestly, this was a big return to single player Final Fantasies for me, after playing 12 for years. And I really liked it. And I don't think it ever clocked to me. I wasn't following, there wasn't Reddit for me back then. There wasn't anything like that. Right. And I was never oh, this is just a hallway simulator. I just remember, I thought Saws was really cool. I really liked, Fang, and some of the story really made sense to me. But
Snow was played by that famous guy too. I think. Who's that guy from The Last of Us? The voice actor everybody knows and talks about all the time. Troy Baker. I think Troy Baker did Snow. Nice. So Final Fantasy 13 was a modern take. Let me tell you about the development of this game though. Okay, Final Fantasy 13 was originally part of a 3-game series. It was going to be like the Ivalice series that Final Fantasy 12 had, called Fabula Novala Chrysalis saga, which was Final Fantasy 13, Final Fantasy 15, and Final Fantasy Type 0. The development on 15 changed drastically, and so they separated it. But you can see some remnants when we talk about Type 0 here in a second. Like you see fal'Cie, like those like terms and stuff. They were all part of the same like mythos and cosmos at one point. As Final Fantasy 15, these are all modern games.
I remember when 13 was announced and 13, whatever 15 was originally supposed to be. I can't remember like the name for it. Somebody in chat might remember what 13 was originally supposed, or 15 was supposed to be called in the Nova Crystallis like series. But it was like, you like this first time where you're like, oh, but like here's the 13 story.
It was supposed to be Final Fantasy like like 13. I think it was originally like Final Fantasy 13, like 13-2 or I think they were like chained together somehow like that originally.
Yeah, they were very like linked and like, but like, you know, you see this picture of Noctis. I think the promo they had, like Noctis, he's like in the back of the car, and he's
the
just
original
like, looks
cinematic
like this, like
that they redid in Kingdom Hearts 3, by the way. It's so
and
weird.
Like it was like so cool because it was like this whole new, like you have this perspective of the story, and then you're going to get a whole other game that's like a different universe that's interacting with that. And like I remember watching that and being like, I can't wait for this, and then they canceled it.
Yeah, it's development hell. Yeah. The only thing that came from it, 15 did get made, Type 0 did get made, 13 comes out. 13 is again, this happens with every Final Fantasy now. I think after 10 is it's divisive. It's a departure. And because you have so many of these before, everyone's arguing over what's the best ice cream flavor. And because this has nuts in it, they're like, well, this isn't Final Fantasy, you know? And so I think 13 gets that. I think 13 is a solid B+. I got bored during 13, so I had to come back and play it originally, and that's just my honest truth. So I went back and to do it, but then I played the sequel and the third one, and they're okay. And it's just like one of those games. It's just like, yeah, I'm glad I played it, but it's like the prequel Star Wars movies where it's like if I get bored, sure, I'll go rewatch it. I didn't find them offensive, but it's just like it's not really. They're not as good as the classics to me.
I thought 13 was good. Did we run a poll? I can't remember. Yeah, we did. We did run a poll, and they said B tier, predominantly voted B tier. It was originally Final Fantasy 13. Final Fantasy Versus 13 was the original title.
That's what it's called. I knew it was some kind of 13.
I would put it B. B is getting pretty crowded. We're gonna have to maybe split some section. What part of B?
Here's what you should do, Heg. Put Tactics Advance and Tactics Advance 2 on top of each other, and then just consolidate them. That's fine. Because they're Game Boy Advance games. It's like they're honorable mentions on this. We're being nice. I put 13 as 17th on my all-time favorite list. So that's pretty much dead center of my 34 list. Yeah, it's just kind of middle of the road. It's fine. Let's talk about now the 2 spin-offs and then Type 0.
2 spin-offs and Type 0.
We can talk about the 2 spin-offs pretty quickly. Is there anyone in chat that likes 13.2 and 13.3? 13.3 is Lightning Returns. 13.2 is kind of cool. It has you play as what is it, Vanille and I forget the other guy's name. It's kind of forgettable. that's the only reason why I forget it. There's like a Moogle, and then you fight is Sid in this one? I can't remember. There's a cool Sid. He might be in the third one. But it's one of those things where it's just like, it's beach episode. If you like the beach, that's the one. It's a beach episode. I remember
playing the demo for this one. I remember playing the demo and being like, yeah, I don't think I'll play it.
It's fine. I mean, it's fine. Metacritic gives this one what does Metacritic give this one? A 79. So, I mean, it's a high C. That's a B. It's fine. I think 13.2 is behind 13. Where did we put 13?
I put 13 mid B.
I personally think 10.2 is more fun to play than 13.2.
Yeah. Better than 10.2 are they relatively
tied? The story of 13.2 is better, a little bit better, but we're comparing beach episodes, you know? Yeah. The gameplay of 10.2 is way better.
As like 2 beach episodes, maybe we could
it's on stop. There you go. Yeah. Now you're thinking. Now we're cooking. How 13 trumps 13 too? The cast of characters I think is better in 13. I mean, make your case.
A lot of people are voting 13 to lower.
Oh, sorry, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah, not Vanille. Vanille was with Fang, I think. Sarah was the one that was with Noel. Saz is the only good character. No, the Shiva
Saz
motorcycle is
cool.
a good character.
Although, like, I never played 13-2 or later stuff, but doesn't like the Chocobo chick like become a full anthropomorphic woman or something like that?
Dude, it gets stupid. Look, Lightning is like traveling through like time and shit, and there's this really cool character named Caius. I remember him. He's pretty cool. Okay, 13. Lightning returns. Yikes. C. I see. Maybe this one gets a 69. Or sorry. This one gets a 66. This is better than Crisis Core, maybe.
Yeah,
but
maybe I was like I'm misremembering this, but like
no, it's actually worse than Crisis Core. I think Crisis Core is better.
I feel like when I talk about 13, people are like, "Oh, 13, but you have to play the rest of the series to really get it." And I'm like, "Yeah, but those games are worse, aren't they?" Like, They
are, but it's one of those things where it's just like, dude, if they made Final Fantasy 8-2 and 8-3, I would play the fuck out of them, right? It's like it's expanding on something I love, right? I think that's why they love it.
Lightning Returns. We're gonna do a speed round poll on this one.
I think Lightning Returns is better than Final Fantasy 2, but worse than Crisis Core. My personal opinion.
So right here behind here, we'll make space for it. If you guys really disagree, please do speak up, and we can shuffle as needed. 13 does have great music. I will agree with that, and I do remember like there's certain parts of 13 that I really did enjoy. But
so you may like 13's music because it's a completely different composer. It's not Uematsu. It's I believe it's the same person who did 15 and Kingdom Hearts does 13. And it's a female composer.
Nice.
Yeah, so if you like those tracks, you can thank her.
We've got some people putting Lightning Returns even in an A, but yeah, I mean,
there's no way it's an A, guys. It was rated 66 on fucking Metacritic or 69. It's not an A, you guys. It's not beating the 13. You think Lightning Returns is better? Lightning gets a cool outfit though. She gets like her cool.
Power fantasy of like seeing your character evolve to their god form. But
base game for 11 was in the 85s, I think, and then the expansions were a little bit lower, except for Treasures, which was also 85.
Nice. Okay, so where does that put us? We put us at 14. Are we ready to talk about 14?
Not yet. Type 0. Last one in the Fabula Novella Crisis. Type 0, pretty cool type shit. Type 0 is the first Final Fantasy since Tactics to make a very serious Final Fantasy. The opening scene, like people are getting their heads blown off. There's blood everywhere. There's dying chocobos because it's war. It takes place in like this modern setting. You're these academy students, and each student is like Ace and King. They're all named after a suite of cards. And they all have like different abilities. So it's really cool, actually. It's also an action game. So it's like hybrid. This was originally, I believe, on the PSP, and they've since ported it to the console. The port's pretty good. It's worth playing. Let me see what Metacritic gave it. I like this game. It's fine. It's a very serious entry. If you want something serious, more adult. Type 0 got an 80 on Metacritic.
Wow. I mean, I do remember here. Let me put a quick pull up for this one too. I do remember seeing. I think this was another in the PSP era, where it was like, oh man, like that looks really cool. I would love to play that game, and like I just didn't have a PSP, so I didn't. But
I would give Type 0. Cool. I'd give Type 0 a B, and I would put it. I would put Type 0. Maybe behind 13. Wait, no, actually behind, in front of 3. I would put
ahead of 3, but behind 10-2. And
what did 3 get on
13-2?
Metacritic real quick? Let me just double check that I'm not fucking.
We can't.
Actually, no, this was better. So yeah, I'd put it in front of 3.
So not quite as good as 10-2 and
it's just
13-2?
they're bigger games. Like Type 0 is kind of a smaller game.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and that's why the Game Boy Advance games are. But there's some replayability there.
Okay, I'll trust you. I'll trust you. God, I hope that's aligned. Okay.
Okay. Now we come to the only one that I'm gonna fight chat for, but I don't want to fight you guys on it because I'm gonna present evidence. I'm gonna present evidence to you guys here. Okay.
Perfect. Now we come to Final Fantasy 14.
I have a bias. I have a bias, and this is the #1 spot on my list. Okay, I have a bias, and let me tell you, we're not talking about A Realm Reborn. We're talking about the total package, including Dawn Trail. I think you should include Dawn Trail. Okay, we're talking about the entire total package here. It's the only current modern MMO for Final Fantasy. It is currently receiving support and updates, and here's why that's important. Okay, movies are cool, but movies are one and done. You make a movie and great, it comes out and it makes a lot of money or it doesn't. But TV series, I think I love TV way more than movies now. And I used to be, I love movies, but I love TV more because with TV, you have season 1 come out, you get critical reception, you get feedback, you get what people like, what people don't like, people's got favorite characters, things like this, and you get to cook and work on season 2. Season 2 comes out, right? And it's a direct response to what you got from your player base. So from your viewership. So every time you put out an expansion, you have the opportunity to put out like banger episodes. And that's what they did. If we look at Metacritic alone, guys, Metacritic for Final Fantasy 14, okay? The base game for Final Fantasy 14 Metacritic is 86, okay? 86. So that's A Realm Reborn, 86. Let me give you the expansions here. Heavensward, 86. Stormblood, 87. Shadowbringers, 90. Endwalker, 92. Dawn Trail, currently sitting at a mixed 78. The expansion is not currently over, but I would agree with that. I'd say 78 is pretty fair to Dawn Trail. This game, I'm going to make the argument for an S tier because if I were to get someone to fall in love with this series, what better way than to take them to a place that is a love letter to the entire series? This game highlights the best of all of your favorite games in a theme park where you can log in and play for free for the first 2 the base game and first 2 expansions.
He's reading the script.
I'm not even reading that yet. I'm not even reading that yet. Hey, can someone actually copy and paste the meme? Can someone paste that for me real quick? Because it really does help my point. At one point, right, and still at this point, if you look at the big 3 right now of MMOs, World of Warcraft has the highest player base, still to this day. Number 2 is probably Final Fantasy 14. And how do I know this? Through logs, through people who are logging, which is like logging in game, which is like completing fights, right? So Final Fantasy is top of the big 3, whether you put Guild Wars 2 up there, whether you put Elder Scrolls Online, of modern MMOs, right? Final Fantasy 14 is one of the top MMOs, okay? Dawn Trail is fumbling the ball a little bit. I would put this at S rank. We can put it next to Final Fantasy 11, that's fine. But I think this game is my favorite of all time because of just the emotional depth that this game provides, okay? Not only that, I have played this game. I supported this game when it was dog shit. I only pay $9.99 a month for this game forever.
Yeah.
As a thank you for supporting this game. Yoshi P saved this fucking game. Yoshi P is a rock star. Am I happy with him right now? No. I think he should do something about it. He should fix the game, and hopefully he can, and he will. But also, like, 78 isn't bad. 78 is still higher than a lot of the games that are on this list for Dawn Trail. And as a whole, a lot of people aren't even playing Dawn Trail. If you guys catch my stream on Sunday, me and Paladin are playing Heavensward. Dude, I don't know if you heard, Paladin cried on the fucking... She'd never seen it before. She cried on stream. Yeah. Right? Like this is what I'm saying about the emotional impact. Final Fantasy 14 is such good storytelling. And that's why they're fumbling with Dawn Trail, because the storytelling's been mid.
Yeah, I think that, like, you know, it's hard to, like, just like 11, like when you look at, like, yes, like you look at 11 when it came out up to the Shadow Lord versus like all these different eras and stuff. And it's, you know, it's had its ups and downs. There have been times where it's been better or worse. Dawn Trail just so happens to be a little bit of a dip in story and people's interest, but there's still good stuff. I mean,
and they still have a couple more patches to cook, right? They have been turning it around, but yeah, like their strongest stuff, they've shown us their strongest stuff is what I would tell the audience here. We know what's good. The 90% of what they've given us is fucking good. Like I just gave you the Metacritics, right? Like the story is incredible. The systems guys are the most quality of life. Respect your time. You only have to log into Final Fantasy 14 as a raider. I only have to log in like twice a week to do my dailies and shit like that, which is like, that's the modern MMO experience. And that's what I want from a modern MMO. If I want to play something grindy, there's other options. I have 11 on S tier. It's an S tier game. I'll go play 11. This is the peak MMO modern Final Fantasy experience. And I'm telling you guys, this is number 1 on my list. I wish I could share the heartbreak and the adventure and the characters and the intrigue. And Hegmo can talk about this. He played 1.0. He played A Realm Reborn. He raided. Like the moments of being with your raid team, man. And like seeing Twintania and like learning mechanics. And we're on Bahamut's arm. Like what the fuck? Like it's just incredible.
It is like such a crazy game, and again, like it's had its ups and downs, and like I think a lot of people in my chat at least like have still play Final Fantasy 11. Some people have different relationships with 14, but like I've played 14, probably in my top 3 games of amount of time spent playing in the past 5 or 7 years. Like I have put a lot of time into it, and I don't play, it's not my daily drive necessarily like 11 has come to be, but like I play it consistently. I go back regularly to keep current with it, and there's always something new and something fresh. But yeah, I mean it's hard not to like take in like the current sentiment around it into consideration.
Right.
But I do think that like hopefully unfortunately, like I think that I always equate it to like being in the post end game Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's like where they're trying to figure out where to send their story. It's not that the game's bad or playing it feels worse or your rotation's bad. Like I think that the class, like the way that deliver abilities and class fantasies evolving and stuff is at its peak in Dawntrail in many ways. Like playing Machinist and getting up to level 100, you're like, oh crap, this is awesome.
Well, and Dawntrail,
like playing Warrior feels so good.
The best
the story
rating
is just a miss. Yeah,
the best rating we've ever had. And like this is the part where like Kachiyu said like, I don't want to have a doctorate to have to play this game. You don't. Like I'm playing like the hardest content there is, right? Like it's not meant to be like, oh, like hey, this is the entry point. There's story mode for everything. They're doing an amazing job. A lot of 11 players did not play 14 because it's like, oh fuck, like I liked the solo part. Like current modern players, I saw this complain a lot. But then when they introduced the trust where you could go solo in dungeon, there was a lot of players that's like, oh shit, I can play the main story of 14 completely solo. I don't have to ever interact with another player. Well, I think you still have to do like Titan and stuff like that. There's some parts, but no, I actually think they fixed that. I think they've completely fixed that now. So there's that. But again, oh, is Dawntrail 50% off? Yeah, pick it up if you haven't played. Again, like I don't feel biased when I say this, guys. Like, look at the total package here. The expansions for 14 on Metacritic have been so fucking high. The free trial is so good. Give it a try yourself. If you don't like it, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. But of the modern MMOs, I play WoW, I play 14, I play 11 off and on. 14 respects my time the most out of all the games that I play. And that from like a gameplay loop mechanic, like that counts for something for me. Because like I'm a busy guy. I got to talk to Hegmo on stream. Like, what am I going to do? Play games all day?
Yeah. All right, I'm not even going to put up a poll for 14. You had a passionate take, and I think that look, it's where it needs to go.
Let's go to 15. Let's go to 15. We got 24 minutes left. Let's do this. Final Fantasy 15. God, what could have been, right?
Yeah.
I heard Royal Edition fixed all of my complaints with the game. I have not played Royal Edition. Has anyone in chat played Royal Edition?
I played it when it came out, so I don't think I played the Royal Edition. I remember playing some of the side chapters and stuff as they released them. I think 15 is is I liked it when it came out. I did all the stuff, like I killed the Adamantoise. You know what I mean? Like I did
very cool.
I
boss
did
too.
all the stuff and
Yeah.
like got like all the unlocks and things like that. I probably like
There's
I
fishing
don't
in
know.
that
I have to
game.
go
There's
back and see if I platinumed it because I might have. And
nice.
I drove Scoopy crazy with all the new recipes I discovered. This is before my headphone era and everything else. You just had to listen to it. And yeah, I don't know. Like I played a lot of it. I have a lot of criticisms looking back. Like, like and I could see like the publisher like, oh, let's do a partnership with Cup Noodle, and you know what I mean. Like, there's all these things that I'm just like,
Well,
but I mean, at the same
can
time,
we talk
like,
about that real fast, because that was a big facet of this. The marketing budget for this game was so massive because this was supposed to get new people in the door. Final Fantasy 15 was supposed to, if you're already a fan of Final Fantasy, you'll fit right in. If you've never played this game before, you'll fit right in. We're gonna start this game. They're gonna market it. This is gonna be, hey, this one's for everyone. And so they did like Cup Noodles. They fucking hired Florence Welch from Florence and the Machine to do the theme song. They made a fucking movie, Kingsglaive. They made spin-off.
Is fantastic
and
too.
It's really cool. And like all this stuff to build up to like what was ultimately like, okay, like this is cool, but it feels unfinished. Like this was the first game I played that it felt unfinished. This is the era of like the DLC completed the game. I never played Royal Edition, so I still don't know all the stories. I think the villain is kind of cool when you find out his backstory truly. I think his fedora fashion is god awful. If we talk about high fashion, I hate his fashion. But I think Noctis is cool.
Was that his name? Arden?
Yeah, Arden. I think Noctis is cool. My all-time favorite Final Fantasy characters are this, right? Balthier, Fran, Gabranth, and Nyx Ulrich. Those are, and the Warrior of Light from 14. Nyx Ulrich in Kingsglaive is fucking awesome, and he's voiced by Jesse Pinkman, Aaron Paul. I love that. This game has a lot of cool world building stuff. There's a lot of cool lore. It's a lot
dungeons,
of open world.
I love that you had these dungeons that like felt like dungeons. Like you'd like find this like cave entrance and like you're deep in there and you're like, oh, what, I'm deep in this cave. And what happens when I, like there's a boss at the end. I think that it took a lot of stuff like learning from the MMOs that it had put out, learning from a lot of the evolution in different games. That
well, the big problem with 15 is, right? Is a little man named Tetsuya Nomura. So this is Nomura. I think he was pulled off of something for this, or no, he was pulled off of this for Kingdom Hearts 3 is what happened.
I see.
So there's some weird direction things that happen here. There's a time skip, which some find cool, some find not interesting. I think one of the most epic moments in all of Final Fantasy is the confrontation with Ifrit. Or Ifrit. Dude, that battle's so sick. You're fighting Ifrit, and he's fucking like, he's the Final Fantasy 7 type of Ifrit, so he looks like a goblin looking guy, like a goblin king, and or like an imp or some shit. And then Bahamut is summoned and sends all the blades down. Like that scene is that sequence is amazing.
And honestly, I really like Noctis's like fighting style, like having these
the Royal Armory.
Royal Armory is like, when I play Dungeons and Dragons and I play a fighter, like this is my like class fantasy of like swapping all these different weapons out and all this other stuff. I think it's really cool. But I do understand that they were missed, and I will say, chat gave this a B plus A minus. I will say that like the boy band, like this is where we start to see the trimming of the party, like where we start, like we have a cast and then it's down to a fixed 4, and like that. I was always a little bit like, man, and I called her Ariana earlier. Aranea,
the dragoon,
is like the coolest character. I'm like, just put her in the party. Let me pick her. Let me play.
I see. It's so interesting that you cared about like that. I didn't care about that at all because I was I'm Noctis, right? So like that's how I've always viewed it. So I never had to worry about that. But I can see that like you're restricted and you don't get to. I
don't get to explore my off meta characters,
right?
Like that, But I would say honestly, this is I put it in an A. I
would also put this at A. It should not exist before Tactics, in my opinion. Anywhere after that, it's fine with me. Metacritic gave Final Fantasy 15 a Final Fantasy 15 was given an 81, so a B. My personal ranking of Final Fantasy 15, I put it at. I can't even find it. Final Fantasy 15. I put it at 16th place, one spot behind Dissidia 12, and one spot above Final Fantasy 13.
I'm gonna slot it right into this spot that's open. There was a bug where you could get Armor into your party. It was like with some sort of like you do a optional encounter and then you have to go trigger a drop ship.
Yeah, and I caught a Mew in a pickup truck.
Yeah. No, I did it. No, I did it. And like you have to like quick save and then reload back.
Just like a glitch. I don't care about no damn glitch. That's not part of the game.
But then like you would get her in your party, but it was like fixed until you did the next story encounter, and then it would resolve itself. So it's like, yeah, it was cool for doing overworld stuff, but I did love that. I agree that Arden's story was really cool, but the
fact that he was Arden. Jesus, like he was the one he could like heal the thing, and they fucking looked at him like that's so fucked up, man. Humanity sucks. Okay, let's talk about the final. This final spinoff that I have not played. However, people love this game.
Yeah, people love this game. So this one, we're gonna have to rely.
You have to play this because this is
on.
Apparently a Dark Souls or Souls-like. That's what they call it.
Oh, really? I've heard really good
system.
things about Stranger of Paradise. So please, if you guys have played Stranger of Paradise, let us know.
Let us know. Here's what I know about it. Like you play as a guy named Jack Garland. So as you can kind of infer, there's something to do with this guy and maybe Garland. You can see Garland in the cover art, the villain of Final Fantasy 1. This goes in like explains what's happening in the time loop of like what went down, right? And so I hear a lot of people think it's awesome. This is called Final Fantasy Origins Stranger of Paradise. It is an action game. There's jobs in it. Looks cool. Modern graphics. It has a lot of memes because the marketing for it. He said he was going to kill Chaos like 19 times in the original trailer. I'm here to kill Chaos. We're going to kill Chaos. I'm here to kill Chaos. I hate Chaos. We're going to fuck. And then the other thing too is like there's some like Limp Bizkit ringtone or some shit. It was crazy. But this game is favorable. Let me see what it says on Metacritic here. I found it somewhere. Stranger Paradise. Stranger Paradise has a 72 on Metacritic, which is a C.
Wow, it's a little lower. Chat's putting it in an A currently. Any votes from YouTube? Kind of generic. I don't know. Finished it was great. So people saying somewhere between A, B, C, middle of the road.
Somewhere in the alphabet.
Yeah. I'll slot this in at the most average area. A, B plus. B minus, C plus. So we'll have to figure out if it's a C plus, we can scoot stuff around.
I think it's better than a C plus. It's probably
B minus. We have to double up.
Let's do Stranger Paradise with Type 0. But it's probably better than Type 0. But yeah.
We'll put it with Type 0.
Just because it's a spinoff.
Above, yeah.
It's French fries.
And that brings us. Oh wait, yeah, right here.
All right, let's talk about this because I honestly think you could be convinced if you let go of your hate for the solo protagonist. Because this next entry of the series, until Rebirth came out, was the next generation experience. This was why people bought a PS5 if you're a Final Fantasy fan. Yeah. I bought a PS5 specifically for this game. It delivered on a next generation experience on that level. It had emotional depth. I am a little bit biased. Soken. I love Soken. The soundtrack is incredible. I don't know if you guys know this, but shout out to one of our chatters named DH, who is sponsoring a trip for me to go take my mom to go see Distant Worlds in concert. We're going to see Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 14 in concert in Distant Worlds. It's insane. So thank you so much to DH for that. I get to go see that at the end of this month. Final Fantasy 16 has an incredible soundtrack. I think it's got an incredible cast. Clive is such a deep character. The political intrigue of the world is very like similar to Game of Thrones, like a television series. The factions are cool. The summons are amazing. The kaiju battles are incredible. The stakes are so high. I remember when Pete played this game, one comment that stood out to me was every time you would do a boss battle, he was like, oh my God, I need a cigarette. Holy fuck. Because it was just so fucking much. It was a roller coaster ride. And I think that's what they use in the marketing materials too. It's like a theme park ride. The Phoenix, do you remember the Phoenix opening? Even on the demo was like, holy shit, right? You're like falling down the chasm. That's how the game starts. It immediately starts, you're the Phoenix and you're falling down the chasm fighting Ifrit. And it's like, what is this game? It's so amazing. And I'm getting chills even thinking about it. This game is number 2 for me. I cried. Clive to me is like, I saw myself in Clive. Like, you know what I mean? Like I want to help people, and your upbringing and like the circumstances of your birth and all this kind of stuff. I loved Clive is my favorite protagonist nowadays. This is a solid A+. I think I personally, it's an S for me. It's a solid A+ though. And I think that here are the main complaints, and then Hegmo will kind of give you his take on it. The main complaints about this game is the linear nature of the MSQ, and like a lot of the like world building is behind side stories or like side quests, and some people didn't like that. This is a departure from any turn-based game. They hired the guy from Devil May Cry, and he did the combat for this game. I think the combat's awesome. I played through the game once as the regular combat. My thumb was swollen. No joke, my thumb was swollen. I'm not very good at action games. And so I played with the journalist mode on in my second playthrough with the ring, where literally all I have to do is press one button and it shows all the flashy cool combos. Yeah. And you know what? That's my prerogative. I've enjoyed the game both one button and with the combo. It's a fun game. Clive's journey is amazing. I like the time skips. I love the icons, the summons. I love the lore, the world. I love Torgal. I love the lore system where you give that guy, hey, here's new entries to put in your tome. Yeah. And like he upgrades the encyclopedia. I love building weapons, even if they were just frivolous of just like, who cares, weapons don't matter. The main things I hear about 16 as well is that it's not very RPG, right? Like you don't really get RPG choices and things like that. But I'm telling you, like 16 for me is my second favorite game. I love 16, and so that I would say it's an S, but I think realistically it's probably an A.
Yeah, I mean, I played 16. I partially, not entirely, but I got a PlayStation 5 to play it. Mm-hmm. And like, you know, the same thing. And like, I was really looking forward to it. I played the demo and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm buying the game. Like this is like one instance where I was like, kind of like I was on the fence, and like the demo sold me, you know, their marketing worked on that. I think that like the one thing that sticks in my head, and again, like I've talked about my preferences with Final Fantasies throughout this. Like to me, a Final Fantasy is a large cast. It's an RPG. It's about making decisions about your progression. Do I go this way on the sphere grid or that way? Do I, give this character the Esper and evolve their stats in this way so they can be my fighter? Well, this guy's the healer. You know, like it's about that like agency as the player is what Final Fantasy is to me. And the reason why I don't have so much resonance with 16 is because like, well, I did enjoy playing the game. I did think that the story was great. It's as much a Final Fantasy game to me it's as much of a departure as like something like Tactics is. Like it's a totally different genre to me. So it's like as a numbered like entry, it's too much of what I don't want in a Final Fantasy game. And like sort of like what Sarek was saying earlier, where he's like he's coming from this turn-based, like he loves that element of Final Fantasy and playing these JRPGs that are turn-based, and then he comes into a game that's like
11 and 12.
You know, that's 11 and 12, and he's like, this is this going in a direction I don't want in Final Fantasy. And I think that's like, you know, seeing the trimming that's happening with like 15 going down to a primary character with 4 support characters to make a mock party, and then down to 16 where it's like your singular character, and like your you don't get like, yes, you do get to like pick your like your icon like powers and how you do your combos, but like your weapon progression is like just locked to where you are in the story. Your armor is just like locked to where you are in the story, or like all this other stuff. And so a lot of the stuff that I really like about Final Fantasy games is trimmed out. And so that's why like I would put it lower. I do think that like as a game and like changing how video games are made and like appealing to a wider audience, I totally get like the decision they made, and I would agree that it belongs in A. I would put it lower, I would average it lower for my personal preference, but I think as a game, I think that it makes sense in A. I just always go back to like, man, I just hope that like I get Square Enix and like from like a publisher perspective being like, we need to shift the series into this other direction. Whenever I think about it, I'm just like, man, I just hope that they look at the success of some games like Expedition 33. And I just really hope the Square Enix is like, wait, we can do a party system and a turn-based RPG in 2027. Like, I just hope that they don't continue on that path for how the game is like mechanically presented in
I
the
think
next
it's
iteration.
like, and I think the answer is it's up to the director, right? This was Yoshi P, and he picked Devil May Cry action style single guy, and like like when I hear this kind of stuff, it's like this is popular discourse that I hear like on Reddit and stuff too of how people feel about 16. For me, it's like I've never spent any energy like worried that we're never gonna get a turn-based game, or like this is a departure, or this is not what I like. It's like I've always seen Final Fantasy as an anthology series, and first and foremost, it's a story, right? Like the actual gameplay, the fighting hurt me. Like I did not like pressing buttons. Like it hurt my hand. Like it physically hurt.
Yeah.
However, it looks cool as fuck. And when I watch like pro players like pull off insane combos and then end with a Zantetsuken, like, holy fuck, that's the rule of cool, man. That's the coolest thing I've ever seen. The icon battles, the boss battles are some of the greatest in the entire series, man. Like, it's just like when you're fighting fucking Bahamut in space as fucking Ifrit with the fucking Phoenix merge, like shit like that was insane, man. This high octane, amazing game. I think it's totally fine there. Metacritic gave this an 87, which is exactly what Remake got. And this is number 2 on my personal list. And yeah, I think Clive's story is fantastic, and I'm not worried. I think the next game is going to be whatever the next director, like, you know what I mean? It's like if they chose me to make a game or if they chose Hegmo to make a game, we'd make 2 very different games.
Exactly.
And who knows what we'd make, but like, I think the franchise is fine, especially with games like Clair Obscur coming out, showing how turn-based can be modernized and stuff. I think the franchise is in good hands. I think we're fine. But I just don't know who's making the next game.
I guess we'll find out. There's not been any rumor or speculation